Chapter 8:11. This person seemed to be smiling, but in fact, he was ferocious. He was from the Upper Sea region, Emperor Fallen Sea region, demon god Guishao, a 10,000 spirit realm powerhouse. Under the 10,000 spirit realm, Qin Yi and the others had no power to resist at all. Even if it was 5 against 1, they were still at a disadvantage. Is this the 10,000 spirit realm? Queen of Hell and the others had solemn expressions. They had already used all their strength, but the other party still had a feeling of teasing them. This kind of combat strength gap was too big. And Qin Yi, Lin Xiu, and the others also understood that the strength of the person in front of them was stronger than Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao was only infinitely close to being a celestial immortal, but this person was a real 10,000 spirit realm, a real celestial immortal. The demonic shadow behind him was the representative power of the 10,000 spirit realm powerhouse, the Soul Seal. All of you are a bunch of trash, I am so disappointed. Demon god Guishao waved his hand and Queen of Hell was the first to be defeated, spitting out several mouthfuls of blood. Damn it! Senior sister, heal your injuries first. Qin Yi immediately said, and Blissful Rebirth's divine sense erupted. A goddess-like phantom rose from the ground and slammed down on Guizhao's soul seal. There is actually such a thing, awakening divine sense. Guizhao said and waved his hand again. The soul seal turned into thousands of skulls and collided with Blissful Rebirth's divine sense. Rumble! The earth cracked, and Qin Yi instantly spat out a mouthful of blood essence. Her pretty face was much dispirited. And her divine sense was also injured in the collision just now. Your body should be delicious. Just as Guishao used the soul seal again, Bai Jiu, Lin Yuan, and the others appeared at the same time. Above the sky, the golden crow's black flames locked onto Guishao. Do you need help? Shimin Wushue's voice came. You are looking down on me, Shimin Wushue. You better not interfere in this battle, or I will teach you a lesson. Guishao laughed a few times. In the battle, it was as if Qin Yi and the others were fighting with their backs to the river. It made him a lot more excited. Rumble! His soul seal turned into tentacles, first dispersing the black flames of the golden crow, and then repelling Lin Yuan's all-out attack. At the same time, after Lin Xiu landed, he wanted to use the power of the sky reflection mirror, but the soul imprint attacked again. It was so fast that Lin Xiu did not have any time to counterattack. Rumble! Lin Xiu was hit again. His entire body drew a deep mark on the ground and directly broke the city wall. Damn it! Bai Jiu gritted his teeth, and dozens of flames ignited. He was at the peak of the Four Symbols stage. However, when he faced Guishao, he felt that the difference between him and Guishao was like heaven and earth. Was this the myriad soul realm he had been dreaming of? Burn it! The demonic fire burst forth like fire dragons that devoured the ghost laughter. Are you tickling me? Ghost Laughter's disdainful voice rang out. With a wave of his soul seal, the skull above opened its mouth and bit down on the fire dragons. This thing seems to be connected to your divine consciousness? A strange expression suddenly appeared on Guishao's face. In the next moment, he licked his lip. The skull was actually constantly devouring the fire dragons. Ah! Baiju wanted to take back the fire dragons, but he found that he couldn't do it at all. The other party's soul seal had already locked onto his demonic fire, and these demonic fires were being constantly bitten and abused under Guishao's evil taste. Stop, stop! Baiju shouted. Lin Yuan and Yama, who had just recovered a little, rushed up again. The soul seal swung and the fire dragons turned into ashes. Baiju also spat out a large mouthful of blood essence. Is it your turn? Guishao chuckled. The soul seal erupted at a frightening speed. Lin Yuan threw a punch with all his strength and collided with one of the soul seals. A storm was set off in the middle of the two forces. The earthquake was intense. Lin Yuan's breathing was extremely heavy, but fortunately, he blocked this soul seal. Interesting, your combat body seems to be very powerful, Gui Xiao said again, and there was an excited laughter. At the same time, dozens of skulls suddenly appeared around Lin Yuan. You think you can rest after blocking my attack? Who gave you the courage? Gui Xiao said contemptuously. In the next moment, dozens of skulls kept attacking Lin Yuan. Bang bang bang! Lin Yuan was seriously injured and was bitten by one of the skulls. As for the female Yama, she was bitten by the skull on her waist. And you guys, come together. Gui Xiao waved his hand and the soul seal locked onto Qinyi, Bai Jiu and Lin Xiu again. Swish swish. All the skulls burst out. The three of them couldn't resist at all and were all bitten by him. 5-4 symbols realms are no different from trash. You guys dare to participate in the sequence battle? Gui Xiao looked at Shimen Wuxue. The other party said impatiently, hurry up, Big Brother is running out of patience. Got it. Gui Xiao snorted coldly. He knew that Lei Dong and the others, their current main force, were preparing to fight the people from the upper world. The battle between the people of the Heaven Domain and the primitive continent was almost over, and the people of the Heaven Domain had obviously occupied more territory. Then the people of the primitive continent were bound to come down and compete with them for territory. These were the pinnacle battles of this sequence battle. And these people in front of him were just a group of small fries in Gui Xiao's eyes. There was no need for Lei Dong and the others to take action against small fries. Forget it, I don't have time to play with you guys anymore, all of you can go to hell. As Gui Xiao's voice fell, he was about to kill them. Under the city, a force suddenly burst out. This force soared into the sky. A beam of light directly shone in front of everyone. Bai Jiu immediately recognized that it was the sealed land where Lin Yu was. Captain is out! Bai Jiu shouted. At this moment of life and death crisis, Lin Yu was their only hope. Shimen Wushue's face revealed a hint of surprise. Is it the person with the blade? He moved and appeared at the edge of the beam of light in an instant. Captain, be careful. This was the first time female Yama took the initiative to call Lin Yu as captain. At this moment, she also understood that Lin Yu was their only hope. If Lin Yu fell, not only would they not be able to get the rewards of the sequence ranking, they might even lose their lives here. This was their first time participating in the sequence battle. They did not expect it to be so cruel. I have been waiting for you for a long time. Shimen Wuxue stood with his hands behind his back, looking down at the beam of light below, and from the beam of light, a figure slowly walked out. His temperament was otherworldly, his eyes were deep, and his black hair moved without wind. His gaze calmly looked above Gui Xiao's head, at the person who was bound by the soul seal and was in imminent danger. That was his companion. Chapter 8:12. Your opponent is me. If you want to save someone, you have to pass through me first. Shimen Wuxue was a bit surprised. Why couldn't he feel the other party's cultivation? How could someone who could cause such a commotion not have cultivation? Make your move. The reason why Shimen Wuxue came was to fight with the person who killed Domineering Blade Guyi. He didn't feel that the person who killed Domineering Blade Guyi was strong, but from the wound, he felt that the other party's blade skills were exquisite. The person who attacked, regardless of cultivation, was qualified to be his opponent just by looking at his blade skills. But Lin Yu didn't even look at Shimen Wuxue and walked straight to Gui Xiao. You're courting death. Shimen Wuxue had been in the Upper Sea region of Border Sea for many years. Even Lei Dong didn't have the qualifications to be so disdainful of him. But now, Lin Yu was turning a blind eye to him. Since that's the case, you can die. Shimen Wuxue wanted to compete with Lin Yu in terms of blade skills, but the other party's actions had completely infuriated him. At this moment, Shimen Wuxue held his sword horizontally and turned around to look behind Lin Yu. A sword pierced over. Captain, be careful! Everyone shouted. A sword light instantly arrived. Lin Yu's hair fluttered, but he only tilted his head slightly. That sword light had just slashed across his face, but it didn't touch his body at all. To be more precise, he dodged it. How is this possible? Shimin Wuxue turned pale with fright. He was confident that even an expert at Lei Dong's level would not be able to dodge it easily. But what was up with Lin Yu's speed? Lin Yu seemed to have predicted the position of his sword. It was an instinctive dodge, and he didn't dodge after sensing the danger of the sword energy. When Shimin Wushue's sword changed, planning to slash at Lin Yu's shoulder again, Lin Yu's right hand turned into an afterimage, and his fingertip flicked on Shimin Wushue's sword. A crisp sound, accompanied by a vast power, directly tore apart the web between Shimin Wushue's thumb and index finger. With a light flick of his finger, the heaven-grade divine sword nearly broke apart, and the tyrannical vibrations caused Shimin Wuxue to retreat dozens of steps, at the same time injuring him. Strong. So powerful. Lin Yu didn't even look at Shimin Wuxue from the beginning to the end. Shimin Wuxue already knew that he was going to be defeated after a simple exchange of blows. Damn it, Shimin Wuxue, what are you doing? Ghost Laughter also sensed that something was wrong. Shimin Wushue's earth-shattering sword strike was not only dodged by Lin Yu, but Shimin Wuxue himself was also sent flying far away. Ghost Laughter was very clear about how strong Shimin Wuxue was. Therefore, the current situation was definitely not simple. Consider yourselves lucky. Gui Xiao snorted and left Lin Yuan and Lin Xiu behind. The moment the two of them landed on the ground, a stream of white energy appeared where they landed like a river. This gentle force allowed the two of them to land on the ground steadily, and at the same time, it also healed their injuries. Impossible! Looking at the power of his 10,000 souls seal being directly dissolved by Lin Yu, even with the cultivation of Ghost Laughter, he couldn't help but be shocked. In particular, Lin Yu's demeanor was so indifferent. It was as if it was an extremely simple matter to dissolve Ghost Laughter's 10,000 souls seal. Lin Yu also bypassed Lin Xiu and Lin Yuan. Damn it! Ghost Laughter was a little panicked, and Shimin Wuxue, who was in the distance, obviously didn't dare to come over. He could only leave Bai Jiu and Queen of Hell behind again. And when he left the two of them behind, Ghost Laughter turned around and fled the battlefield. I won't accompany you. Ghost Laughter shouted from afar, and he also took Qin Yi with him. Lin Yu glanced at Bai Jiu and Queen of Hell unhurriedly. On the other side, the power from Ghost Laughter was also dissolved by him. And when Lin Yuan, Lin Xiu, and the others were worried that Qin Yi would be taken away, Lin Yu had already disappeared in place, and when he reappeared, he was looking down at Ghost Laughter. When? Fierce God Laughing Ghost's heart was in turmoil. He had already used his full speed and left Lin Yu's territory, which was at least 100,000 feet away. But when did Lin Yu catch up with him? And when Lin Yu caught up, Ghost Laughter didn't react at all, just because it was too fast. At this moment, between Lin Yu's eyebrows, a mark actually surged out at the same time. When he saw the mark, the 10,000 souls seal in Ghost Laughter's body was actually suppressed in an instant. Heaven grade, no, it's a saint grade 10,000 souls seal, you are in the 10,000 souls realm. Ghost Laughter was sure that this young man with no cultivation in front of him was someone they couldn't see through at all. The current Lin Yu was in the 10,000 souls realm. And a 10,000 souls realm expert had to refine the 10,000 souls seal with the spirit sense of a monster. However, different monsters' spirit sense also had different grades. The 10,000 souls seal was divided into 4 grades: Heaven, Earth, Profound, and Yellow. Yellow grade was the lowest, and Heaven grade was the strongest. And the Heaven grade 10,000 souls seal already needed to correspond to a Sky Monster level expert. The so-called Sky Monster was the Spirit King Realm monster that Bai Jiu had mentioned before. It was already an extremely extravagant thing to refine a 10,000 souls seal that was only used by human warriors in the 10,000 souls realm with a monster that also had the combat strength of the Spirit King realm. Therefore, the heaven-grade 10,000 souls seal was already extremely precious to the 10,000 souls realm, a rare saving point. Even Ghost Laughter's 10,000 souls realm was only refined by a 10,000 souls realm earth demon, the 9-headed skeleton snake. In the 10,000 souls seal, it could only be considered a mysterious grade. However, Ghost Laughter could clearly feel that the 10,000 souls seal that appeared between Lin Yu's eyebrows gave him an unprecedented sense of pressure. He had seen Lei Dong's heaven-grade 10,000 souls seal, but the pressure that Lin Yu gave him surpassed Lei Dong's. The only reason was that Lin Yu's 10,000 souls seal was at the saint grade. Only ancient monsters that had surpassed the Spirit King realm could have the level of a sky monster and above to refine the saint grade 10,000 souls seal. Impossible, the saint grade 10,000 souls seal only appears in legends, it can't be real. As Ghost Laughter retreated, he constantly comforted himself. What is the saint grade 10,000 souls seal? Lin Yu was puzzled. Anyway, it's a very powerful thing, why do you care so much? And in his mind, a second voice appeared. It was the voice that was originally in the blue fire. Bai Xiaoli, you're borrowing my body now, Lin Yu warned. He also knew the name of the existence in the blue fire after bearing the other party's consciousness. Not only did he know the name, even the other information seemed to be absorbed by Lin Yu like a sponge because it existed in the other party's memories. Bai Xiaoli, 9-tailed celestial fox. It had existed for too long, so it was difficult to investigate. However, Lin Yu knew that there were a total of 10 ancient monsters of the same level as the 9-tailed celestial fox. Chapter 8:13. Among those 10, the 9-tailed celestial fox's combat strength could only be ranked at the bottom. Of course, even if it was at the bottom, even if it was only a strand of divine thought fused into Lin Yu's 10,000 soul seal, it was enough to destroy the Tao heart of a sequence like Demon God Laughing Ghost. After Bai Xiaoli admitted defeat and explained the meaning of the Saint Grade 10,000 soul seal, Lin Yu then looked at Demon God Laughing Ghost. Let her go. Lin Yu's gaze fell on Qin. The other party was already shocked by the power that Lin Yu had just displayed. Even she couldn't clearly see how Lin Yu had caught up to her when she was being carried by Demon's Ghost Smile's soul imprint and the 9-headed skeleton snake. Warriors of the 10,000 soul realm can only refine one 10,000 soul seal, but I seem to be able to refine 2 more. Lin Yu pondered, although he already had the first 10,000 soul seal brought by the 9-tailed celestial fox. And the buff that this 10,000 soul seal gave to Lin Yu was mainly reflected in speed. Lin Yu could easily determine that his current speed was 10 times that of an hour ago. So you want her, then I'll give her to you. Demon God Laughing Ghost had long lost the courage to fight with Lin Yu. A powerhouse at his level was no longer a brainless person. When Lin Yu exchanged blows, and then caught up with him like a ghost, Demon God Laughing Ghost already knew that he had no chance of winning against Lin Yu. The next moment, Demon God Laughing Ghost threw Qin Yi directly. And Lin Yu also caught Qin Yi and didn't chase after Demon God Laughing Ghost immediately. At the same time, Demon God Laughing Ghost in the distance actually met up with Shiman Wuxue. Don't let the tiger return to the mountain, Qin Yi immediately reminded. You're seriously injured. Lin Yu smiled faintly, and the time reset operation allowed Qin Yi to return to the state before she was injured. This was not the first time Qin Yi had seen this incomparably magical power. However, she couldn't help but breathe faster. She knew that this was Lin Yu's strongest and most terrifying trump card. With this trump card, they had been able to defeat Ling Xiao, who represented the god of the sky desert universe. And now, could Lin Yu rely on this trump card to once again become a supreme existence in the 3 realms and 5 regions and challenge the experts on the God ranking list and demon God ranking list? Qin didn't dare to imagine it, but she believed that Lin Yu could do it. I'll chase after him. Qin's eyes were filled with determination. She knew that Lin Yu had once again taken a huge step forward on the path of the strong. As for herself, although she couldn't surpass Lin Yu, she didn't want to be left too far behind. She was Lin Yu's woman. That was her dignity. The others are here as well. Lin Yu's lips curled up. In the distance, Grim Ghost and Shimen Wuxue were not the only ones to appear. There was also Jiu Feng, evil god Deluo, fiend god Jiang Yan, and their captain, the strongest Lei Dong. The strongest sequence alliance in the Realm Sea. At this moment, all of them appeared in front of them. What should we do? Qin's lips had lost their color. Lin Xiu, Lin Yuan, and the others, as well as Bai Jiu and Queen of Hell, also came to Lin Yu's side. Under the reset of time and space, everyone's injuries had been completely healed. Lin Xiu and Lin Yuan were still calm, but Bai Jiu and Queen of Hell were taken aback. What's going on with this healing power? No, how is this healing? This is simply as if he had never been injured at all. Queen of Hell and Bai Jiu said in shock one after another. Both of them looked at Lin Yu at the same time. At this moment, they understood more clearly why Qin decided to ally with Lin Yu from the beginning. Why was Lin Yu so calm when facing the Sky Demon? His trump cards were so many and so strong that they couldn't see through them at all. Captain, should we avoid the spearhead for the time being? Bai Jiu asked. He didn't know Lin Yu's current combat power. But in the face of the highest combat power in the Realm Sea, Bai Jiu didn't think they had a chance to win. Why can't you even deal with this kind of trash? Lei Dong's cold voice came. Jiu Feng was next to him, as well as evil god Deluo and fiend god Jiang Yan, plus Shimen Wuxue and demon god Gui Xiao. There were a total of 6 myriad spirits realm here. With such a lineup, even against the sequence alliance of the heavenly domain and the primitive continent, they had the power to fight. You'd better not underestimate him, demon god Gui Xiao snorted coldly. His face was a little sullen, and he couldn't laugh anymore. He thought that they would just deal with some small fries, who knew that they would be scared into fleeing. Because of the delay, Lei Dong and the others had already occupied all the territories of the 5 Elements realm and came here in person. Just a few 4 symbols realm? Jiu Feng of the Sorcerer tribe smiled seductively. She could be considered beautiful, but unfortunately, she paled in comparison to Qin. Therefore, Jiu Feng stared at Qin at the first moment. Leave this bitch to me. Jiu Feng sneered, as if she had already eaten Qin. Don't hurt her face. Lei Dong warned. What do you mean, you like her? Jiu Feng was dissatisfied. No man will let go of such a beauty. Lei Dong shrugged and didn't hide his greed for Qin. Such a woman only needs the strongest man. Lei Dong, do you remember what you promised me? I will be responsible for the matter between you and me, but Qin, I want her. After being rejected by Qin, not only did Lei Dong not dispel his thoughts, but his desire became stronger. Qin, I thought you had a good choice, but you just found a group of trash. Lei Dong laughed coldly. He did not even look at the others as he stared intently at Qin. At that moment, Qin subconsciously held Lin Yu's hand tightly. Don't worry. Lin Yu smiled faintly and looked extremely calm. When she saw Lin Yu like this, Qin instinctively felt relieved. Just like when he was in the Fang Yi Dao world, the young man in front of her showed that he had enough confidence to face the current predicament. Even if he was surrounded by the 6 sequences of the 10,000 spirits realm, Lin Yu only needed one expression to make Qin feel safe. Did you see that? That bitch already has someone in her heart. Jiu Feng sneered. No one knew if she was mocking Lei Dong or laughing at Qin and Lin Yu, who were about to be unlucky. Lei Dong sighed. Then I want her too. You! Jiu Feng's eyes were burning with anger. She was no match for Lei Dong, but she could vent her anger on Qin Yi. Die! A 10,000 soul seal light surged between Jiu Feng's eyebrows, and a black feathered phoenix appeared behind her. The phoenix head was divided into 3 and then 9. It was the 9-headed phoenix formed by her 10,000 soul seal. Chapter 8:14. I want your face to be torn apart by my 9-headed phoenix. Starred woman. Lei Dong was furious, but the 9-headed phoenix was too fast. Even if he attacked now, it would be useless. You'd better tell her to take it easy. Shimin Wushue's voice suddenly came. What do you mean? Lei Dong suddenly had a bad feeling. Shimin Wushue came from the same sea as him, so Lei Dong knew how powerful Shimin Wushue was. For such a sword maniac to say something so fearful, it could only mean how dangerous Lin Yu and the others were. Watch out! The 9-headed phoenix 10,000 souls seal looked down and bared its scarlet fangs. At the same time, the 9 phoenix heads emitted an ear-piercing cry. Bai Jiu felt a stabbing pain in his eardrums. He was about to defend himself. Qin Yi was also about to attack. But the next moment, Lin Yu patted her hand. By the time Qin Yi reacted, Lin Yu had already disappeared from her side. When he reappeared, he was already in front of the 9-headed phoenix. At that moment, the space was already cracking because of the phoenix's cry. Waves swept across the land and the city collapsed. Bai Jiu and the others couldn't even attack normally. The 9-headed phoenix's combat power was even stronger than the devil's smile. Yet, in the face of such a powerful opponent, Lin Yu was able to stand in front of the 9-headed phoenix as if nothing had happened. Are you done? Lin Yu said impatiently. He raised his hand and directly slammed it down. You're courting death. The 9-headed phoenix tried to devour Lin Yu's body. No one dared to face the 9-headed phoenix at close range. Lin Yu was the first, and the 9-headed phoenix was sure that he would be the last. I'll tear you apart. The 9-headed phoenix's sharp beak pierced down. Lin Yu slowly raised one hand. When he touched the phoenix's beak, a huge shadow of Azura formed behind Lin Yu. The power of this demonic shadow far exceeded any of the Azura shadows that Lin Yu had used in the past. This was also the first time Lin Yu summoned it in the myriad spirit realm. Great Void 8 Divisions, Azura. I'll use you as a sacrifice for my Azura's third move. Lin Yu smiled faintly. At the same time, Azura raised his hands to the sky. The dazzling aura in the sky was instantly sucked dry, and darkness appeared above Azura's hands. The darkness was like an eternal night. It was the ultimate move of Azura of the Great Void 8 tribes. Extreme Devil Dao Transformation. As Lin Yu spoke, the Supreme Devil Dao Heaven came crashing down. It was so fast and so large that it covered the entire 9-headed phoenix. Damn it, what is that thing? This brat has conjured up a new world. Dark Sky, what kind of demonic attack is that? Impossible. This isn't an ordinary cultivation technique, nor is it a level that a secret technique can achieve. The top echelons present were all shocked by the appearance of Azura and the Supreme Devil Dao transformation. At the same time, Lei Dong also moved his feet, wanting to help Jiu Feng. If you dare to touch her, all of you will die today. Lei Dong's stern voice sounded. Although he coveted Qin Yi's beauty, Jiu Feng wasn't a woman he was willing to give up. However, how could Lin Yu be someone who would give him face? Under the Supreme Devil Dao transformation, it looked like a dark sky. In fact, when it came into contact with Jiu Feng, the opponent's moves were all destroyed. What's more, Jiu Feng felt like she was being smashed by an entire continent. That kind of heavy force shattered the 9-headed phoenix's myriad soul seal. As for Jiu Feng, she fell down covered in blood. Damn it, damn it! After Lei Dong's warning, Jiu Feng was still injured to this extent. This was a slap to his face. Before Lei Dong arrived, Lin Yu had already choked Jiu Feng's delicate body with only a breath of life left. Let me go. Jiu Feng's face was filled with fear. She had underestimated her opponent. She didn't expect Lin Yu to destroy her myriad soul seal with just one move. She didn't expect her opponent to be so strong. She had never felt this kind of oppression when facing a strong opponent, even in front of Lei Dong. However, the young man in front of her gave her the feeling that he was just a cripple with no cultivation at all. I was wrong, let me go. I can fulfill all your conditions. Jiu Feng used her last breath to send a charming voice. Are you willing to be my woman? Lin Yu raised the corner of his mouth. Seeing this, Yama and the others immediately cursed in their hearts. However, when Lin Yu said this, he looked at Lei Dong. However, Jiu Feng didn't even look at Lei Dong. She knew that Lei Dong couldn't save her. Jiu Feng knew how terrifying Lin Yu was. His combat power was so strong that no one here was a match for him. Jiu Feng and Shimen Wuxue were the only ones present who had fought Lin Yu head-on. Even Shimen Wuxue, strictly speaking, didn't fight with Lin Yu head-on. He had already been defeated. Lin Yu didn't know how powerful he would be if he went all out. He only knew that in his opinion, these people in front of him were all very weak. Yes, I'm willing to be your woman. Jiu Feng's voice was heard. Everyone heard it, and the first thing they thought of was Lei Dong. At this moment, Lei Dong was less than 30 feet away from the two of them, but there was a grassland above his head. Bitch! Lei Dong roared, but he hated Lin Yu even more because Lei Dong knew that women had always submitted to the strong. At this moment, Jiu Feng made a choice because she felt that Lin Yu was stronger than her. However, before Lei Dong could say another word, Jiu Feng also thought that as long as she sold her body, she could exchange for a chance of survival by Lin Yu's side. When the time came, she would have plenty of opportunities to take revenge for today. Jiu Feng wouldn't even let go of Qinyi, a bitch who was prettier than her. However, the sound of her neck breaking shattered the tranquility at this moment and also destroyed the last trace of Jiu Feng's evil thoughts. Lin Yu swung his hand casually, and Jiu Feng's head and body were separated into two halves. Her head was full of blood, and at the same time, her eyes were wide open in surprise. She didn't expect Lin Yu to be so ruthless. She regretted it. As her consciousness continued to fade, Jiu Feng regretted it. She shouldn't have been jealous of Qin Yi and shouldn't have fought head-on with Lin Yu. This young man was a strong person that she couldn't afford to offend. Handkerchief. Lin Yu raised his hand, and Qin Yi immediately handed him her handkerchief and wiped the blood on Lin Yu's hand. She knew Lin Yu's habit. He didn't like to have his hands stained with blood. However, what Lin Yu did now was for her. Qin Yi understood in her heart, and her face was full of smiles. Big brother Lin Yu, thank you. Jiu Feng humiliated her and wanted to kill her, so Lin Yu destroyed her. What kind of youthful courage was that? Meanwhile, Jiu Feng's man, Lei Dong, could only watch as Jiu Feng threw herself into Lin Yu's arms and ended up with her head separated from her body. This was another slap to Lei Dong's face. Chapter 8:15. Damn it, let's go. Lei Dong had completely gone berserk. He originally thought that dealing with Lin Yu and the others was just dealing with a group of small fries. But he didn't expect that before he could get Qinyi, he had already lost his most important woman. At this moment, Shimen Wuxue, Grim Ghost, and the others were a little more afraid. They watched as Lin Yu's hands were already clean under Qinyi's careful wiping. And the young man's expression didn't give people the slightest bit of complacency from killing the sequence. It was as if Jiu Feng died in his hands, just like squashing an ant. Such a person wasn't as simple as they thought. One-on-one or together? Lin Yu looked at Lei Dong again and said this extremely arrogant sentence. But after everyone saw him kill Jiu Feng, they already knew that Lin Yu's strength was terrifying and he was qualified to say this sentence. Lei Dong was burning with anger. There weren't many people in the younger generation of the Realm C who could enter his eyes. but today, he was repeatedly slapped in the face by a sequence of the lowly sea region. It seems that you are really tired of living, Shimen Wushue, grim ghost, fiend god Jiangyan, grim god Deluo, come with me. Yes. The 5 sequences of the myriad spirit realm erupted with a shocking aura at the same time. Even with the mental states of Qinyi, Baijiu, and the others, this scene caused their heartbeats to involuntarily quicken. The few of us can delay Grim Ghost, we just fought with him, and have a chance to win, Baiju said softly beside Linyu. He naturally knew that even the current captain didn't have a high chance of winning with so many powerhouses. They wouldn't retreat, since they were in the same alliance, they naturally had to contribute. I have no problem. When your injuries are better, fight with him again, if we are fast enough, we can support you. Lin Yuan and Lin Xiu said one after another. And Qin Yi grabbed Lin Yu's hand, her jade hand was cold and boneless, but her palm was already sweating. The higher-ups are about to figure it out. Let's end this quickly. Lin Yu shrugged. War was unavoidable, especially when it was a battle between the top echelons. He patted Qin Yi's hand to comfort her. I will take good care of myself. You have to be careful too. Qin Yi said obediently and let go of his hand. She did not want to be a burden to Lin Yu, so she took a deep breath and decided to fight to the death with the demon god, Laughing Ghost, just like everyone else. Even if we have to risk our lives, we'll stop one of them. As for the others, I'll leave them to you, Captain. The Queen of Hell, who had always been unconvinced by Lin Yu, looked at Lin Yu seriously at this moment. Kill them all, leave only Qin Yi alive. Lei Dong gave the order as the lightning energy in his body surged. A look of fear appeared on Demon's face, but just as he was about to attack, Baiju sent out a palm strike. Your opponent is us. Demon looked over and grinned. He was originally worried that he would be in danger facing Lin Yu, but these small fries took the initiative to find trouble with him. Leave them to me. You guys just focus on dealing with Lin Yu. With that said, Demon God had already charged towards Baiju. As for Qin Yi and the others, they also surrounded him. Your injuries are all healed? Demon God cursed secretly. What was going on? The 10,000 soul seal attack that he left on them was all gone now. It was as if these people had not fought with him just now. And this was clearly due to Lin Yu's spacetime reset. Cut the crap, watch how we take you down. The Queen of Hell's temper also rose. They were all echelons, so they had each other's dignity. But just now they were defeated by Demon God even after joining forces. This was simply a humiliation to them. The battle was on the verge of breaking out. 5-4 symbols realms against Demon God's 10,000 soul realm. On Lin Yu's side, he was also surrounded by Lei Dong, Demon God Deluo, Fiend God Jiangyan, and Shimen Wushu. Lightning surged and an ancient gigantic crocodile that was 100,000 feet tall formed from Lei Dong's glabella. Heaven grade 10,000 soul seal, ancient heavenly crocodile, die. Lin Yu's gaze fell on the ancient heavenly crocodile that opened its bloody mouth. Looks like the resources in the upper sea region are really good. The heaven grade 10,000 soul seal required heavenly demons. Only Spirit King realm beasts could refine it. This kind of resource was something that Supremacy Wuya did not even dare to think about. The bloody mouth fell. Behind Lin Yu, Azura also propped up his hands and blocked the ancient heavenly crocodile's upper and lower jaws. The two huge clones collided, and layers of ripples instantly exploded in the sky. You have some ability. Lei Dong was also a little surprised that the ancient heavenly crocodile was blocked. He immediately signaled Demon God Deluo and Fiend God Jiangyan with his eyes. The two of them attacked at the same time. Earth Grade 10,000 Soul Seal, Demon God Deluo. Earth Grade 10,000 Soul Seal, Heaven Fiend Blood Beast. The two of them also released their 10,000 Soul Realm aura. The 10,000 Soul Seal erupted, and two huge demonic shadows charged at Lin Yu. Let's see how you block it. Lei Dong laughed. To deal with his 10,000 soul seal, Lin Yu had already used up both of Azura's hands. It was impossible to block the attacks of the other two demonic shadows. Can't block it? Lin Yu raised his eyebrows, and his ternary combination 10,000 soul realm cultivation base erupted. At this moment, a second head appeared on the shadow of Azura, and then a third head. Then, the space behind him crackled. A third arm, a fourth arm, a fifth arm, and a sixth arm appeared. They broke out one after another. This was the final form of Azura of the Great Void 8 divisions, 3 heads and 6 arms. Bang bang bang! Demon God Daluo and Demon God Jiangyan's 10,000 soul seal were once again blocked by Lin Yu. He alone faced the attacks of 3 10,000 soul realm powerhouses and did not fall into a disadvantage. Chinese people looked over and were also shocked by the shocking aftermath of the battle. "We can't help him," Yama said helplessly, staring at Demon God Laughing Ghost. "Stalling this 10,000 soul realm is already our limit." Chini also heard a bit of self-mockery in her words. "At least we can stall one." Chini's bright eyes were determined as she burned all her cultivation base to the extreme. 4 symbols realm, half-step heavenly immortal. The gap between the 10,000 soul realm and the perfect heavenly immortal was too big. She, like Yama and the others, began to hate herself for being weak. Not only them, but even Bai Jiu, Lin Yuan, Lin Xiu, and the others gradually understood this point. They were sequences, the best of the younger generation in the 3 realms and 5 regions, but it was not enough. The Upper Sea region, the Heavenly region, and the Primitive continent, there were more and stronger opponents waiting for them. In the face of a true powerhouse, they did not even have the power to resist. If Lin Yu had not killed a 10,000 soul realm powerhouse and blocked 4 10,000 soul realm powerhouses, they would have died long ago. Rumble! Lin Yu retreated dozens of feet, and Lei Dong, Demon God Daluo, and Demon God Jiang Yen attacked again. After the continuous battle, even Lin Yu's Azura, the strongest state of the Great Void 8 divisions, began to struggle. Extreme Demon Dao Heaven. Chapter 8:16. Lin Yu's cold voice could be heard. Azura's 3 heads and 6 arms held up the sky. The space contracted instantly and the sky turned into a jade plate. The jade plate came crashing down as though it had turned into a piece of heaven and earth. Demonic God Daluo and Fiend God Jiang Yen were hit at the same time and the 10,000 souls seal weakened significantly. However, Lei Dong took the opportunity to dodge. At the same time, he appeared behind Lin Yu at lightning speed. Die! With the ancient heavenly crocodile above, a lightning whip appeared in Lei Dong's hand and bound Lin Yu. Roar! The heavenly crocodile swallowed him. Tear him apart! Everyone was shocked. Just when Lei Dong thought he had succeeded, he saw that Lin Yu had no time to dodge his whip. However, he had disappeared. Fast. His speed was shockingly fast. When he reappeared, Lin Yu was already dozens of feet away. In between his eyebrows, white light surged and the 10,000 souls seal was faintly discernible. Shimen Wuxue, kill him for me. Although Lin Yu had dodged Lei Dong's attack, he had appeared in Shimen Wuxue's attack range. As for Shimen Wuxue, he had no intention of attacking. Lei Dong was a little surprised by this scene. Shimen Wuxue, why are you in a daze? Kill him for me. No matter how Lei Dong shouted, Shimen Wuxue remained motionless. I only want to fight him one-on-one. Shimen Wuxue said coldly. This was the dignity of a sword cultivator. Even though he belonged to Lei Dong's alliance, he did not give up the dignity of a sword cultivator. Using numbers to bully was not something Shimen Wuxue would do. Very good. Lin Yu's lips curled. This person was worthy of his attention. Wait till I'm done with them, then I'll have a go with you. As Lin Yu's voice fell, Shimen Wuxue's gaze turned solemn again. He did not attack. Firstly, he did not like to bully with numbers. Secondly, he did not have the confidence to sneak an attack on Lin Yu. The last time they fought was only half an hour ago. At that time, Shimin Wuxue had already lost completely. This time, he wouldn't make a move until he was confident. Shimin Wuxue didn't know if he would be able to escape from Lin Yu if he lost again. This feeling was the intuition of a swordsman towards a dangerous opponent. There was no mistake. This kid was extremely dangerous. If anything went wrong, Shimin Wuxue knew that he would lose his life. Watch carefully. Lin Yu smiled faintly. The strong valued the strong. He also knew what Shimin Wuxue was thinking in his heart. The other party was obviously not someone like Lei Dong, who was all brawn and no brains. At this moment, a wooden handle appeared in Lin Yu's hand. It was a sword hilt. Don't you use a knife? Shimin Wuxue narrowed his eyes. He was once again surprised by Lin Yu. He remembered that Lin Yu had used a saber to kill Gu Yi. Could it be that this person had an extremely high attainment in swordsmanship? If not, how could he dare to use a weak swordsmanship when fighting against so many 10,000 spirits realm experts? The sword hilt didn't have a sword body. Shimin Wuxue's gaze lingered on it for a few breaths. This sword was extraordinary. Heaven grade or even higher. Shimin Wuxue guessed in his heart. He felt that he couldn't see through Lin Yu. Lei Dong and the others couldn't help but sneer when Lin Yu took out a piece of wood. Is this kid crazy? One Shimin Wuxue is in a daze, the other Lin Yu is crazy. Interesting. Big Luo, kill him. Make it quick. Evil God Jiang Yin shouted. Just now, he and evil god Big Luo were suppressed by Lin Yu's extreme demon Dao Heaven. Now that he was injured, he knew that Lin Yu wasn't easy to deal with. Leave this kid alive. I want him to see his woman being played by me. Lei Dong laughed. When Lin Yu took out an ordinary wooden hilt, he already felt that he had the chance to win. The others just glanced at him and scolded him in their hearts. If Lei Dong wasn't the sequence with the highest cultivation, they wouldn't listen to a man who was so greedy for beauty. Women are troublesome. Evil god Big Luo and evil god Jiang Yin looked at each other. They knew that they had to be ruthless to kill Lin Yu. If they held back, they would be the ones to die. Shimin Wuxue. Lin Yu's voice suddenly came. Seeing the 10,000 spirit realm experts attacking, his expression was abnormally calm. Just a blink of an eye. You have to watch carefully. These words made Shimin Wuxue's eyes widen again. His heartbeat quickened. As a sword cultivator, his instinct told him that Lin Yu was about to show a sword technique that would shock even him. Lin Yu raised his hand, and the sword hilt in his hand suddenly burst out a blue light. The sword body was out. Streaks of sharp aura burst out. Even the space cracked at this moment, as if it was cut open by the sword aura. The power of the Emperor's sword. It was related to the cultivation of the user's sword principle. Therefore, the Emperor's sword was the only divine weapon among the 9 great Emperor treasures that could become stronger when facing a strong opponent. Lin Yu held the Emperor's sword, and the Sky Fox 10,000 souls seal between his eyebrows burst out a bright light. At this moment, the Emperor's sword in his hand began to shatter and fall. Impossible! Shimin Wuxue widened his eyes. It was impossible for such a sharp divine sword to break so easily, but the scene in front of him was so real. At the same time that the Emperor's sword broke, the 5th part of the 8 great void sections in Lin Yu's body began to rotate, following the dragon tribe Yekshao, Garuda, and Azura, the 5th part that Lin Yu had comprehended. Qi of heaven and earth. At the same time that Lin Yu spoke, not only the Emperor's sword, but also himself began to shatter. To be more precise, what Shimin Wuxue saw was Lin Yu turning into a wisp of green smoke. The wisp of green smoke merged with the fragments of the Emperor's sword. Suddenly, it disappeared. Even Lei Dong and the other 2 were extremely shocked when they saw this scene. Where did he go? D***. Did this kid explode and die? Be careful. Something is wrong. The three of them were extremely alert. However, a wisp of green smoke suddenly swept across the space around them. The green smoke was so fast that it seemed to have torn the sky and space apart. Before the three of them could react, the green smoke had already swept past them. Shimin Wuxue, who was far away, widened his eyes. On his face, there was a shock that he had never seen before. He couldn't see it clearly. He couldn't see the appearance and disappearance of the green smoke. But he only saw Lei Dong, malevolent god Daluo, and fierce god Jiang Yen being torn into pieces in an instant. Did you see it clearly? The ghostly voice sounded again. Shimin Wuxue came back to his senses, and saw that Lin Yu had appeared beside him again. It was only a distance of 3 feet. Lin Yu didn't even look at Shimin Wuxue. Instead, he looked at the three of them as if he was admiring his own work. Chapter 8:17. The three of them stared with their eyes wide open. Their bodies were cut into pieces, and it was impossible to tell who was who. Only 3 extremely terrified eyes were falling at this moment. Ta! Ta! Pieces of corpses fell to the ground. 3 of the 4 10,000 soul realm experts had died. And it was an inexplicable death. It's your turn. Lin Yu smiled faintly, still with a harmless face. But at this moment, Shimin Wushue's Dao heart had already collapsed. In his knowledge, it was impossible to cultivate a sword technique to such a level. It was as if Lin Yu had used an evil technique with shocking lethality and extremely strange speed that could instantly kill all the 10,000 soul realm experts. Shimin Wushue's body trembled, and he didn't even have the courage to make a move. He didn't know if Lin Yu would turn into that wisp of smoke again and tear him to pieces if he moved recklessly. I'll give you a chance to make a move. Lin Yu smiled and patted Shimin Wushue's shoulder. But the other party's trembling became even more intense. If that's the case, then forget it. Lin Yu shook his head helplessly and slowly walked forward. When he passed by Shimin Wuxue, thousands of sword qi pierced through Shimin Wushue's body at the same time. The 4th 10,000 soul realm expert died again. Shimin Wushue's eyes widened. At the last moment, he had already reached out to attack, but he was still too slow. Intense pain spread throughout his body. Was this the sword qi of a top sword cultivator? Shimin Wuxue stared at Lin Yu and slowly fell down, dying together with Lei Dong and the rest. There was no resentment in his eyes, but more of a kind of awe. A teenager gave him a kind of awe that could never surpass his sword Dao. Unfortunately, Lin Yu didn't give him another chance to fight with him. This was Shimin Wushue's second failure. A sword cultivator had failed twice, and there was no more chance. At this moment, in the entire Thunderclaps camp, from the initial few 10,000 spirits realm experts to the present, there was only Demon God Laughing Ghost left. He had been held back by Qin Yi and the others. He had thought that it was only a matter of time before Lin Yu died. At that time, when Lei Dong and the others came to support them, it would be the death of Qin Yi and the others. But now, what was going on? How did they all die? Demon God Ghost's smile could no longer laugh. When the aura of the 10,000 spirits realm dissipated, he had already begun to retreat, preparing to escape. Qin Yi and the others were also looking at Lin Yu in shock. So powerful! They didn't see clearly what had happened just now. But the truth was right in front of him. Lin Yu had killed 4 myriad spirit realm experts. Including 9 Phoenix, there were 5 of them in total. The 5 myriad spirit realm echelons had all died in Lin Yu's hands. This was equivalent to Lin Yu alone completely uprooting all the opponents in the upper reaches of Realm C. What happened just now? Captain, you've become so powerful. Invincible. Captain is invincible. Lin Xiu, Queen of Hell, and Baiju said in shock one after another. Qin Yi's face was full of pride. Was this her man? No matter how powerful the opponent was, he was still invincible. Chinese man. Kill. Lin Yu looked in the direction where Demon God Ghost Smile escaped. Quick. A little faster. Demon God Ghost Smile desperately burned his cultivation in exchange for an unprecedented speed, leaving the battlefield directly. However, just when Demon God Ghost Smile thought that he had escaped hundreds of thousands of feet away, a young man appeared in front of him. The young man stood with his hands behind his back, looking at the smoke of the battle in the sky that was gradually subsiding. It seems that the battle in the Five Regions world is almost over. Lin Yu spoke slowly, the Sky Fox 10,000 soul seal between his eyebrows flowed with white light. This was the power of the nine-tailed Sky Fox, and her power could bring Lin Yu a terrifying speed. Under this speed, Demon God Ghost Smile couldn't escape at all. At this moment, the latter was staring at Lin Yu with fear. Impossible, You've already run far? Lin Yu smiled faintly and said innocently, unfortunately, this speed is just a moment for me. Have you heard of 1,000 miles in an instant? No. I don't believe it. Demon God Ghost Smile was shocked and turned to run again. His Dao heart had already collapsed. This young man could kill Lei Dong and the others with his own strength, then he, Demon God, was no match for him alone. Only death awaited him if he stayed. A storm is coming. Lin Yu looked at the sky, as if he could already see the experts of the Five Regions world approaching. The Sky region, the primitive continent, and the other sequences of the Five Regions besides Baijio. After dividing the territories of the world of Five Elements, their target was the world of Five Elements. Thinking of this, Lin Yu sighed. It was destined to be another battle soon. But before that, Lin Yu took another step. 1,000 miles in an instant. Demon God Ghost Smile knelt on the ground directly. This time, his speed was faster and the time he took to escape was longer. He even intended to escape to the Five Regions world. But Lin Yu still caught up. Let me go, I can be your cow and horse. Demon God Ghost Smile kowtowed and begged for mercy. He did not even have the courage to fight Lin Yu. You're welcome. Lin Yu slowly walked past Demon God Ghost Smile. No. Don't come over. Demon God Ghost Smile was furious. The 10,000 souls seal erupted and shot into the sky. Ghost skeletons directly locked onto Lin Yu and opened their bloody mouths to devour him. Die. At such a close distance, Demon God Ghost Smile decided to counterattack before death. But Lin Yu's figure turned into green smoke again. The green smoke was like an invisible blade, destroying everything in its path. Demon God Ghost Smile widened his eyes, but it seemed that he regretted it when the Heaven and Earth Unification Chi was used. He should not have thought of leaving things to chance. Then, when Lin Yu appeared again, the skeletons were shattered, and the 10,000 souls seal dissipated. Even Demon God Ghost Smile's battle constitution was the same as the others. Broken. Corpse. Wan. Duan. I wanted to let you die easily. Lin Yu withdrew his gaze and took away all the storage rings of Lei Dong and the others, not letting any of them go. Then, he returned to the team. Everyone did not know what had happened. That Demon God Ghost Smile, Baizhou asked. He's dead. Lin Yu only said one sentence lightly, but the others' minds were already in turmoil again. He just left for a while. If it were them, they would not even be able to catch up with Demon God Ghost Smile. But Lin Yu not only caught up with him in a short time, but also killed him? This made everyone unable to help but imagine how fast the battle ended. Instant kill. It must be another instant kill. The people above are coming down soon. Lin Yu raised his hand and ordered the others to return to the city at the beginning. The enemies will be stronger after this. Everyone's expression changed. Lin Yu said again, but I can help you improve your skills, but forcibly improving your skills will be accompanied by danger and pain. Are you willing? Chapter 8:18. In between Lin Yu's eyebrows, the unity of heaven and man talisman was perfectly used by him. and inside there were also the skills of several 10,000 soul realm powerhouses. When Lin Yu turned into green smoke, he also activated the Unity of Heaven and Man talisman. Not only were those people killed, but even their cultivation was absorbed by Lin Yu into the Unity of Heaven and Man talisman. At this moment, Lin Yu knew that it was difficult for him to continue absorbing these skills in his current state. More haste, less speed. He had already directly crossed the four symbols realm and stepped into the 10,000 soul realm. If he forcefully broke through, it would damage his Tao foundation. But the others present were different. Especially Lin Xiu, Lin Yuan, and Qin Yi. Lin Xiu had his talent and the main body of the sky reflecting mirror. Lin Yuan was the combination of the extermination ape and the eight-winged demon emperor python. Before he was born, he had absorbed a large amount of Yao Bat and the inheritance of the 10,000 beast war emperor. There was also Qin Yi, who had 10 reincarnations and the terrifying rebirth in paradise divine sense. These three people had a chance to break through to the 10,000 soul realm. Hearing Lin Yu's words, the few of them revealed their desire for strength at the same time. If it was the previous Lin Yu, they might not believe it when he said this, but after seeing Lin Yu kill so many 10,000 soul realm powerhouses with their own eyes, they were convinced that Lin Yu could make them stronger. "Captain, please help me improve my skills." The first to speak was Bai Jiu. He had been at the peak of the four symbols realm for many years and was only one step away from the 10,000 soul realm. But it was only one step, but the difference was like heaven and earth. Previously, when facing the fierce laughing ghost, Bai Jiu was already full of grievances. "Captain, please help me improve my skills." The second to speak was the female king of hell. Now, she only felt that Qin Yi's initial decision was extremely correct. If they had chosen the wrong camp from the beginning, then they might have died together with Lei Dong at this moment. The current female king of hell was completely convinced by Lin Yu. "What about you guys?" Lin Yu's gaze fell on the other three. "I'm willing." Although Lin Yu said these three words, he still felt a blow to his face. He wanted to become stronger, but this kind of situation where he was being left too far behind by Lin Yu was not good. "Listen to Master," Lin Yuan said. Qin Yi stepped forward and did not answer Lin Yu's question immediately. Instead, she asked worriedly, "Will it affect you?" She was worried that Lin Yu's own cultivation would be damaged. Lin Yu smiled gently. Qin Yi was probably the one who cared about him the most. Hearing Qin Yu's Lin Yuan Yu was Yu felt Lin Xiu Yu. They were Yu was indeed. "Captain, if it's too difficult, I don't mind not leveling up for now." Yama was the first to speak. She looked at White Nine. Although this person is easily flustered, his cultivation is the closest to the 10,000 spirit realm. "Captain, help him raise his cultivation level first, and we will have another helper in the 10,000 spirit realm." The others nodded in succession. Lin Yu smiled with satisfaction. It seemed that these people were quite united. "It's okay. Since I asked you, I naturally have the confidence to help all of you improve," Lin Yu said and brought everyone to the side of the altar. There was no longer the nine-tailed fox's voice. To be more precise, the nine-tailed fox's consciousness was in Lin Yu's body at this moment, and her main body was already asleep in the blue fire. Lin Yu knew that even with his current cultivation and the sharpness of the Emperor's sword, he could not break the seal chain. And he did not intend to break the shackles of the altar immediately. The nine-tailed fox was now in a state of complete submission to Lin Yu. If the seal was broken and the nine-tailed fox's main body appeared, there might be other variables. "Sit cross-legged, we don't have much time," Lin Yu said, and everyone sat down at the same time. In the world of 5 directions, the heavenly realm occupied 60% of the territory, while the 4 families of the primitive continent only occupied 30%. The remaining 10% was divided between the Western Shumi sect, Ghost Realm, Demon sect, and Dongxing sect. The people of the heavenly realm were ambitious. Although they already had an absolute advantage, they were still eyeing the territory of the Five Elements realm. Even if they controlled 60% of the world of Five Direction, including the world of Five Elements, they only occupied 30% of the world of 10 Direction. Naturally, this was far from enough for the Heavenly Realms echelon. They were the supreme geniuses, and this time, their goal was to occupy more than 50% of the territory. They wanted to tell everyone in the 3 realms and 5 regions that even if all the geniuses of the other forces combined, they could not compare to the younger generation of the Heavenly Realm. This arrogance was destined to make them shine in this battle between the echelon. The people of the primitive continent were naturally not satisfied with just 30% of the territory of the Five Elements realm. And this 30% was taken from the hands of the Heavenly Realms echelon after paying a huge price. If the people of the Heavenly Realm did not already have their eyes on the Five Elements realm below, they would probably still be entangled with them, and then the territory of the primitive continent would be reduced. Because they understood that the echelon of the Heavenly Realm was the strongest. And the people of the 4 regions would not be satisfied with just 10% of the territory. Since they could not compete with the people of the Five Elements realm, they would go to the Five Elements realm. I heard that Baiju of the Demon realm is down there. That kid is at the peak of the 4 Symbols realm. He is not easy to deal with. What are you afraid of? We still have the captain of the 10,000 Spirits realm. Killing him is easy. I wonder if Baiju is dead. If he is not, we will snatch his territory. The echelon of the Five Elements realm began to descend, and their target was the Five Elements realm. At the same time, Heavenly Realm, the highest place in this world, was also the most powerful place. There was an incomparably huge phoenix. Its wings had been severed, and it was lying in a vast cage on the verge of death. But the phoenix still kept wailing. Starlight flowed through the cage. Upon closer inspection, one could see that the pillars of each cage actually contained stars. It was as if the cage itself was a star field. And in front of the cage there was a chessboard. On the chessboard there was also the power of stars. Each chess piece was a star. The person holding the white chess piece was a black-robed expert. His appearance could not be seen clearly, but how could a person who could use stars as chess pieces and easily lift them up be a simple person? Good move. The black-robed expert muttered to himself, but the white chess piece in his hand had already been placed. Opposite him, a middle-aged man sat upright, slowly raised the teacup in his hand, and took a sip. This person had sword-like eyebrows and starry eyes. Even if it was just a simple action, it gave people a sense of immovable majesty. His back was against the star cage, and behind him, 6 black wings were mighty and domineering, symbolizing this person's identity. The strongest existence in the 3 realms and 5 regions, the 6-winged Divine King. Chapter 8:19. The seal has loosened. Aren't you going to take a look? I'll be done by the time I finish this game with you. The 6-winged God King put down his teacup. Seeing the white piece, he shook his head and placed a black piece. The next piece was placed. With a pincer attack, the situation was once again in favor of the white piece. The God King's chess skills have improved again, the black-robed man muttered. The black-robed expert murmured to himself, I wonder if anyone brought out the 9-tailed celestial fox. As one of the 10 ancient sacred lands, the 10-square world forbade anyone above the 10,000 spirit realm because they didn't want to break the seal in the sacred land. That ancient expert doesn't want us to open the secret of the 10 ancient sacred grounds, so I'm going to try. The God King should understand that those echelons are the future of the 3 realms and 5 regions. If anything happens to them, the 9-tailed celestial fox will have a bad temper. The 6-winged God King's expression remained cold and emotionless. Sacrifices are inevitable. If the echelons can be used as sacrifices to release the 9-tailed celestial fox's power, I'm willing. The black-robed expert smiled. The God King is indeed someone who does great things. If that person had your boldness back then, now, before he could finish, a somber aura erupted from the chessboard. I've said too much. The black-robed expert smiled apologetically, knowing that he'd almost said the six-winged God King's taboo. You've lost. The six-winged God King snorted. With a wave of his hand, an image appeared at the edge of the chessboard. It was the image of the city on the altar. The seal has loosened. The black-robed expert was overjoyed. If the nine-tailed celestial fox can be released, the God King will be able to absorb his sacred heart and sea of chi and step into a higher realm. At that time, this world will become the 12th divine realm under the God King's leadership. I congratulate the God King in advance. The six-winged God King's expression was still calm, but it was somewhat similar to Lin Yu's. At that time, we'll have to rely on your divine realm to express our stance. As long as the God King is willing to pay a small price, our divine master will definitely honor his promise. That would be for the best. The black-robed expert smiled with satisfaction. He looked at the outcome on the chessboard and the phoenix in the star cage and revealed a strange smile. He cupped his fists and bid farewell before disappearing from the heaven domain. In other words, he didn't belong to this world. After that person left, the six-winged God King snorted coldly. Above the Spirit King is the ultimate void, and above the ultimate void is the Celestial Emperor. As long as I become the Celestial Emperor, why should I care about your opinions? His eyes flashed with anger as he stared at the phoenix in the star cage in the blink of an eye. What were you arguing about? As soon as the six-winged God King finished speaking, a ray of divine light blasted against the stellar cage. In an instant, the cage shook, and then a myriad of bolts of lightning descended and blasted against the phoenix. Bang, bang, bang! The thunderbolt punishment was suddenly mixed with the phoenix's wail. However, the six-winged God King didn't even look at them. Instead, he stared at the situation in the 10-square world. His power couldn't extend into the Tao altar. There was a restriction there that even ultimate void experts above the Spirit King realm, the strongest existence in this universe, couldn't enter. This was because the 10-square world was one of the 10 ancient sacred land. It had existed for hundreds of millions of years. The seal left behind by that era, even if it had been weakened over time, was not something that the current experts could destroy. In the sky above the five elements realm, the first to arrive were the people from the four regions. They were the first to be forced to retreat by the five elements realm above and could only come down to the five elements realm to find a new territory. I wonder where Baizhou is. We're all from the five regions. I feel that we should get rid of the realm C sequence here first. As for that Baizhou, we'll talk about it later. The person who spoke was Ghost Fairy from the Ghost Realm. That won't do. Baizhou is from our five regions, but he doesn't walk with us. Since he looks down on us, he naturally has to pay the price. After that person finished speaking, he put his palms together and softly said Amitabha. This person came from the Western Sumeru sect and was a martial monk. After he finished speaking, the two sequences from the Dong Sheng sect nodded at the same time. We can ignore him if he's heartless. This poor Taoist has always followed the will of heaven. I don't kill, and I'm not afraid of trouble. Senior brother is right. This junior brother has already locked onto Baizhou's position with the extreme Tao compass. He's right here. I didn't expect the Dongxing sect to have such a powerful secret technique. The martial monk was surprised. The person holding the extreme Tao compass also sneered. This item is specially used to lock onto demonic aura. That Baizhou came from the demon realm. Even if he's a human, there's more or less demonic aura on him. Then why didn't you take it out when we were dealing with the demonic beasts in the five elements realm? You almost caused us to be seriously injured by the demonic beasts that ambushed us? Ghost Fairy couldn't help but ask. The compass Taoist coughed dryly. This poor Taoist forgot that there was such an item. Ghost Fairy frowned slightly. The others didn't ask any more questions, but they all knew the answer. These sequences from different forces weren't completely united when they formed an alliance. Each of them had their own ulterior motives. Even if they were powerful, they would subconsciously hide their strength, to prevent others from finding out their trump cards. Although they were in an alliance, in reality, each of them were competitors. He's right here. There's no mistake. The Compass Taoist also knew that the atmosphere was awkward. He took the lead and landed in front of the city where Lin Yu and the others were. The demonic aura is very strong? Looking at the extreme Tao compass that was beating intensely, the Compass Taoist's heart tightened. He felt that something was wrong. Logically speaking, Baijiu's demonic aura shouldn't be so strong. Where is he? The martial monk came up and urged. This is in front. The Compass Taoist said. His senior brother also came up. Junior brother, what's wrong? I keep feeling that the demonic aura fluctuation is a little abnormal. It's like there's a very powerful demonic beast in front. Junior brother, don't be so suspicious. Although the few of us aren't a match for the primitive continent and the heavenly region, it's not a problem to deal with these small demonic beasts. The Compass Taoist was still a little worried. I didn't expect the people of Dong Xing sect to be so cowardly. Little Demon King, what nonsense are you talking about? The one who spoke was one of the 36 little demon kings of the demon sect. Hearing the Compass Taoist's rebuttal, the little demon king laughed disdainfully. Since you know the location, there's no use for you guys. Move aside. With that, he led the others towards the entrance of the altar. Junior brother, let's go up too. If we kill Baijiu and split his storage ring, we won't even have scraps left if we go up too late. Chapter 820. Senior brother, you're right. Maybe I'm just too suspicious. The people from the 4 regions surrounded the entrance of the altar. Baijiu is down there? The monk asked. Little Devil and the others also looked at the Compass Taoist. He's down there. After saying that, the Taoist looked at the compass again. Wait! What now? The monk was already a little impatient. Little Devil couldn't help but sneer. What? The dignified Dong Xing Taoist sequence is scared again? The Compass Taoist couldn't hear the others this time. He just stared at his compass. Above, the number representing the power of the demon aura kept rising. No, there's something wrong here. Baijiu can't have such power. The Compass Taoist was shocked. Even his voice was a little hoarse. Step back. It's not something we can enter. After saying that, he was the first to step back. Junior brother, what's going on? The other sequence from Dong Xing Taoist sequence didn't know about compasses, but it was the first time he saw his junior brother so scared. Senior brother, the thing inside isn't something we can provoke. Let's go. Nonsense. You said Baijiu is inside. How can we leave? The monk pointed at the teleportation array on the city wall. Do you see that? This place is occupied by Baijiu's people. How do you know it's Baijiu and not someone from the Realm Sea? Ghost Fairy retorted. Who cares where he's from? Anyway, this place is now mine. After saying that, Little Devil was about to go down the altar. The altar blocked the divine consciousness. It was pitch black and unfathomable. So in front of them there were only faint stone steps. It was exactly the same as when Lin Yu first came in. No, I said that the thing inside isn't something we can provoke. Once we enter, I'm afraid. The Compass Taoist was terrified. But the others didn't listen to his advice. Because in their opinion, they didn't trust the people from other factions. The 2 from Dong Xing Taoist sequence might be acting. At the thought of this, the other sequences from the 4 regions felt even more strongly that there might be an even more important treasure inside. Do the people of the Western Sumeru sect dare to enter? The little demon king probed. Why wouldn't I dare? The most important thing for us cultivators is courage and a Tao heart. Who knows, there might be some good fortune in this secret realm. If we give up just because of a few words from others, what's the point of cultivating? You're right. Let's go in and take a look. Idiots, these idiots. Taoist Compass's hands trembled. Just as he was about to retreat, he pulled at his senior brother, only to see that the other party did not move either. Senior brother, we can't stay here any longer. Once they disturb the thing inside, even we will be implicated. However, after he finished speaking, his senior brother looked coldly at the Compass Taoist. Junior brother, the most important thing for us cultivators is the Tao heart. Hearing this, Taoist Compass couldn't sense the other party's Tao heart. On the contrary, there was more greed than words. These people all thought that there was something good inside. Why aren't you listening? Taoist Compass shouted helplessly. And on the altar, the sequence was continuously coming down. The first to arrive was the monk of the Western Sumeru sect and the little demon king of the demon sect. After that, it was the senior brother of the Dong Xing sect and the ghost fairy. Damn it, I can't go in. Taoist Compass stood outside the door, wanting to ask about the situation inside. What terrifying thing, so it's you guys? The monk couldn't help but laugh. In front of him were Bai Jiu, Qin Yi, Lin Yuan, Lin Xiu, and the Queen of Hell, who were meditating cross-legged. In the middle of these 5 people, Lin Yu had his eyes closed. In between his eyebrows, the Heavenly Fox 10,000 Souls seal and the Unity of Heaven and Man talisman had fused together. With the power of the 9-tailed Heavenly Fox, he activated the power of the Unity of Heaven and Man talisman to increase the strength of the other 5 people. And those 5 people's expressions were extremely ugly. Lin Yu had already told them in advance that this kind of forced increase would bring great pain and difficulty because he had gone through it. But the 5 of them still underestimated Lin Yu's words. The power they were enduring now was not even half of Lin Yu's previous power, but all of them were already in pain. It was hard to imagine how Lin Yu had withstood 3 times the strength in the first hour and stepped into the realm of 3 elements fusion, 10,000 souls. The perseverance required was simply terrifying to them. It's about time. Lin Yu smiled faintly. The 6 of them formed a formation, and the little demon king and the others were also staring at Lin Yu. It seems that they can't move yet. Are these people cultivating? We can't let them succeed in their cultivation. That kid, look between his eyebrows. Everyone stared at Lin Yu's Heavenly Fox 10,000 Souls seal and had evil thought. This thing can actually help 5 people in the 4 symbols state cultivate at the same time? The monk put his palms together. Good. Benefactor, if you don't hand over the treasure, we can leave you with an intact corpse. Intact corpse. Lin Yu slowly opened his eyes and smirked. Stinky monk, I'll say the ugly words first. If you dare to take a step forward, you'll die. As his voice fell, it echoed in the altar. This time, the people who came were not from the heaven region or the primitive continent. Those people were the top fighters, and none of the people in front of him were from the 10,000 souls realm. Lin Yu naturally didn't put these people in his eyes, but his words were incomparably arrogant in the eyes of others. What a joke. So this kid can become a sequence because of this treasure. I already said that I can't feel his cultivation. How can he become a sequence? It seems that this treasure is indeed amazing. Why do I feel that it's the 10,000 souls seal that my master mentioned? Ghost Fairy asked curiously. The 10,000 souls seal is a power unique to the 10,000 souls realm. How can a trash like him have it? Forget it, kid. Since you're not willing to hand it over, don't blame us. The monk had already lost his patience. At this moment, behind him, the senior brother of the Dong Xing sect was holding a token in his hand. His junior brother's voice sounded. The Compass Taoist was asking about the situation inside. Just as the senior brother of the Dong Xing sect was about to respond, the others had already glared over. This treasure is enough for the few of us. Your junior brother is as timid as a mouse and doesn't deserve to come in. If you dare to tell your junior brother that there's no danger below, we'll deal with you too. The monk and little demon warned one after another. In front of a living treasure like Lin Yu, they had already lost the respect they had for each other and revealed their original greed. There are 6 people here. My junior brother can also come in and get a share. After the senior brother of the Dong Xing sect said that, the monk and little demon attacked at the same time. With a rumble, the two suddenly attacked and seriously injured the senior brother. Chapter 8:21. Poof. Since you don't know what's good for you, die first. Bastard, we are from the Alliance. The senior brother glared at the other party with a ferocious expression. At the same time, he took a few steps back. Forget it, little demon king. Monks should be lenient whenever possible. The warrior monk persuaded the little demon king. However, he didn't really want to help the other party. He just wanted to find a scapegoat. Taoist emptiness, since you made a mistake, you should make up for it now. The moment the warrior monk said that, the little demon king understood. That's right. Go and twist that kid's head off. You, the Taoist emptiness gritted his teeth. How could he not understand that he was the first to make a move? If there was really danger, he would be the first to die. If you don't listen, I'll let you die now. The warrior monk warned. Ghost Fairy had already approached Lin Yu and the others. Lin Yu didn't move. The Ghost Fairy probed, "Are you guys unable to move?" "So what if we are?" Lin Yu smiled faintly. At this moment, not only could he not move, but he was also the only one who could speak. The others could only focus on improving their skills. After hearing Lin Yu's words, the greed on the others' faces became even more obvious. "Ghost Fairy, what are you trying to do?" While the little demon king and the warrior monk were dealing with the Taoist emptiness, the Ghost Fairy sneaked up alone from the Jing Mountain City and extended her hand towards Lin Yu's glabella. "Since you can't move, this is mine." At this moment, the Ghost Fairy had a ferocious look on her face. Her voice was heard by Bai Jiu and the others. The 5 of them were a little distracted. "Concentrate on operating. Don't be distracted." After saying that, Lin Yu smiled faintly. He didn't even look at the Ghost Fairy who was charging towards him. In the next moment, his glabella was only 3 feet away from the Ghost Fairy's hand. Got it. To a 4-symbol stage powerhouse, a distance of 3 feet was merely a matter of an instant. However, the instant Ghost Fairy's laughter was heard, a white light flashed past between Lin Yu's brows. This white light is like a sharp blade, directly cutting off Ghost Fairy's hand. Blood splattered everywhere. Ghost Fairy's mournful voice resounded. Only then did everyone come back to their senses. They saw that she was continuously retreating. Her entire right arm was completely broken. The right arm fell in front of Lin Yu. It was impossible to approach within 3 feet of him. This scene stunned everyone. Lin Yu closed his eyes again, not even looking at the arm in front of him. However, the Ghost Fairy had also completely lost her Tao heart under the intense pain. She retreated in fear and wanted to escape. However, when she saw the rotating Heavenly Fox 10,000 souls seal between Lin Yu's eyebrows, she stopped in her tracks. She was observing. Once there was a chance, her greedy heart would drive her to make a second move. In the outside world, because the altar was too deep in the ground, when Lin Yu and Bai Jiu first came in and threw something down, they didn't hear any echo. Therefore, the compass Taoist outside also couldn't hear any screams. Could it be that there's something wrong with the compass? He looked at the rising demonic aura value on the compass and snorted, "Damn it, I can't keep up with them." After saying that, the compass Taoist also jumped in. As for the compass that he threw away, when it landed on the ground, it seemed that the demonic aura test had exceeded the limits of what it could bear and shattered. Taoist emptiness, go up and try? The warrior monk ordered. No, damn it, you clearly know that kid is dangerous. Taoist emptiness scolded. Junior brother, I'll go up now. He transmitted his voice out, but at the same time, the compass Taoist had already come down. Senior brother, what did you say? Just as the compass Taoist was about to speak, Little Devil and the warrior monk directly attacked. The two of them each grabbed one of Taoist Emptiness's shoulders and threw him towards Lin Yu. Your senior brother is going to get the treasure. The two of them laughed. When they saw Lin Yu close his eyes again, they already had some guesses in their hearts. The power used to deal with the ghost fairy was indeed terrifying, but with Lin Yu's current state, they felt that he couldn't use that move too many times. Therefore, what Little Devil and the warrior monk wanted to do was to first exhaust Lin Yu's stamina. As long as Lin Yu was exhausted, the treasure between his eyebrows would belong to these people. But in the next moment, Taoist Emptiness's screams were heard again. At this moment, Taoist Emptiness was lifted up by someone by the neck. Originally, the Demon Region and Dongxing Taoist sect had nothing to do with each other, but today you want to kill me, so you can't blame me. The one who attacked Taoist Emptiness was Bai Jiu. At this moment, Bai Jiu's aura had reached an unprecedentedly tyrannical state, and outside his body, a chaotic energy was slowly rotating. I still need one more demon beast to condense my 10,000 soul seal. Bai Jiu was extremely excited. He was sure that he had already stepped into the 10,000 soul realm. However, he still needed to find a demon beast to refine the 10,000 soul seal. Impossible, this aura you actually. Taoist Emptiness wanted to break free, but Bai Jiu's hand was like a clamp that firmly locked onto him. Die. Bai Jiu did not hold back. The power of the 10,000 soul realm erupted and directly entered the already injured Taoist Emptiness's body. Only a bang 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 sound was heard. Taoist Emptiness's body exploded and his head was separated from his body. Senior brother. The compass Taoist was shocked and was even more certain of his thoughts. I told you, there's danger here. Not only Bai Jiu, the compass Taoist also saw Lin Yu and the others. Each of them was emitting a strange aura. It seemed that only Bai Jiu had awakened, yet he could kill his senior brother. If all the others awakened, then they wouldn't even have a chance to survive. Thinking of this, the compass Taoist burst out with an unprecedented speed and directly rushed out of the underground world. As for Bai Jiu, he cupped his fists towards Lin Yu. Captain, please instruct me. He was extremely grateful to Lin Yu. If not for Lin Yu's help, he would have needed a long time to comprehend the power of the 10,000 soul realm. Therefore, Bai Jiu would first ask Lin Yu about all the decisions. Don't leave a single one alive. Lin Yu's calm voice sounded. Bai Jiu immediately understood and nodded. His figure instantly disappeared, and when he reappeared, he was already blocking the compass Taoist Emptiness. At this moment, Ghost Fairy was also trying to escape. Bai Jiu, we're all from the 5 regions. You can't kill us. Yes, the 5 regions are of the same breath. Although you're not willing to join us, there's no need to kill us, right? Hearing the words of the compass Taoist and Ghost Fairy, Bai Jiu only found it funny. Now that he thought about it, the 5 regions were of the same breath. If not for Lin Yu's help just now, their breakthrough would have been interrupted by these people. Then, what awaited Bai Jiu would be his cultivation going against the flow, his cultivation going berserk, and even his body exploding. The other party was doing this out of greed, wanting to kill them. Since we're of the same breath, then all of you will die here today. Chapter 8:22. Bai Jiu smirked. At this moment, Little Devil and the monk also rushed up. This kid has just entered the 10,000 soul realm and his cultivation is not stable. If we attack together, we might be able to defeat him. That's right. Let's attack together. With that, Little Devil and the monk rushed towards Baijiu. Ghost Fairy had lost an arm and her cultivation was greatly reduced. Compass Taoist was also frightened from the beginning. But when the two saw the situation, they knew that they could not wait for death. At this moment, they braced themselves and rushed towards Baijiu. However, when they really attacked, they saw Little Devil and the monk split up in two different places. Unexpectedly, when White Nine attacked, he chose to go around from the side. Damn it, they want to escape by themselves. Bastard, I shouldn't have come in. Ghost Fairy and Compass Taoist cursed. But when they wanted to stop, they had already collided with Baijiu's palm force. Try my palm after entering the 10,000 soul realm, desolate sky shattering palm. Baijiu's palm force fell and destroyed everything in its path, even without the 10,000 soul seal. But the difference between the 10,000 soul realm and the four symbols realm was like heaven and earth. This palm directly caused Ghost Fairy and Compass Taoist's attacks to collapse. The two of them spat out blood at the same time. They wanted to follow Little Devil and the monk to go around Baijiu and rush out. But Baijiu had been fooled once. How could he allow himself to be fooled a second time? Die. White Nine raised both of his hands. Two waves of palm energy erupted from his side at the same time, striking Ghost Fairy and Compass Taoist, who were charging upwards. The two of them were directly hit by the palm force and fell into the depths of the altar. As for White Nine, he also went up without stopping to chase after the other two. Deep in the altar, Ghost Fairy and Compass Taoist were already dead, and Lin Yu casually used his 5 fingers to form a claw and sucked their storage rings. He refined the top-grade pills inside into medicinal energy and gave them to the other 4 people. They were different from Baijiu. Baijiu was originally an expert at the peak of the 4 symbols realm, so breaking through to the myriad soul realm was only a matter of time and strength. However, the others were still a distance away from the 10,000 spirits realm. Especially the female Yama, her aptitude was much lower than the other 3. At this moment, Lin Yu could sense that Lin Xiu had already reached the peak of the 4 symbols realm and was starting to charge into the myriad soul realm. As for Lin Yuan and Qin Yi, they were slightly weaker than Lin Xiu in terms of aptitude, but they had also reached the last level of the 4 symbols state. As for the female King of Hell, she was indeed much weaker. She was still at the 7th level of the 4 divisions stage. However, her perseverance was not bad. She was not distracted by the matter just now and was still absorbing the power of the unity of heaven and man talisman. Lin Yu slowly looked up at the sky. At this moment, Baijiu had already brought down 2 corpses. They were the other 2 4-domain sequences that had fled. In addition to the 3 people at the beginning, the 5 sequences had once again fallen here. And because the one who killed them was Baijiu at this moment. Although the territory that originally belonged to them was far above the 5-direction world, that 10% of the territory had now become Baijiu's. This scene was obviously something that even Baijiu did not expect. There was actually such a benefit, and the outside world was also beginning to change at this moment. The territory that originally belonged to the upper sea area of the realm C was now gradually becoming Lin Yu's name. Has this entered the final stage? Baijiu's heart beat faster. When he was outside just now, he had already felt a tense and dangerous aura. He did not know how much time had passed since they entered the 10-direction world. But obviously, this phenomenon of directly inheriting the other party's territory after killing meant that the battle here was destined to be even more tragic. It also symbolized that the sequence battle was coming to an end. The final stage. It was no longer about occupying the territory. It was about who killed the most people and who obtained the most. Under such cruel rules, Baijiu could almost imagine that the 10-direction world was destined to be filled with rivers of blood in the future. I'll protect you. Baijiu saluted Lin Yu with his fists and rushed out at the same time, arriving above the city. He stood with his hands behind his back, Looking at the surging clouds in the sky above, his breathing quickened. Even with his current cultivation level, he instinctively felt a great amount of pressure when he saw this scene. He saw that in the sky above, two forces were constantly approaching here. Needless to say, they were people from the primitive continent and the heavenly region. It was also this sequence battle. The strongest existences. As long as they survived in their hands, when they went out, they would be experts on the sequence battle list. But if they could not survive, then what awaited Baijiu and the others was death. This was the rule of the sequence battle, where the strong preyed on the weak. Captain, there are others. Baijiu's eyes were solemn. He knew that the burden on his shoulders was heavy, but he was incomparably excited. From the beginning of the battle, he did not know where to start. Now he could protect all his teammates. This feeling made him feel that he had become more important. Don't worry, no one can step in here. Baijiu muttered to himself. He did not know if he was talking to himself or the others. But in the underground world, the others also felt the tension of an impending storm. They began to enter the state of breaking through with all their might. Lin Yu nodded with satisfaction. He knew that the unity of heaven and man talisman could release its full power at this moment. There was not much time left for them, and Baijiu and Lin Yu knew that the other party could not hold on for too long. The outside world. Baijiu saw the changes in the territory. 10% of the sky belonged to him. The remaining 90% was divided by the people from the primitive continent and the heavenly region. But the most dangerous place was here. At this moment, the entire Five Elements world was Lin Yu's territory. Captain killed Lei Dong's group. So, this place is his. Baijiu understood. Now Lin Yu was the fat sheep in everyone's eyes. Interesting, it seems that the final stage has begun. What's going on down there? I thought that the Upper Sea region people had occupied the territory. Why did it change? The experts who descended from the sky also noticed the changes. Because on the territory, Lin Yu's name appeared. This change even more reflected the horror of the final stage of the sequence station. When these people saw Lin Yu's name, they only thought of how to kill Lin Yu and snatch his territory. Boss, what should we do now? Should we snatch the territory or go find Lin Yu? A voice came from the four experts of the heavenly region. As for the person leading them, it was a person with red wings on his back. This man was the leader of the heavenly region, Wang Jie. But Wang Jie did not answer immediately. Instead, he looked at another person. Lu, what do you think? Kill him directly. Obviously, Wang Jie also valued the opinion of the person who spoke. That's right. There's not much time left. In the remaining stage, we should kill that kid directly. Then, all the territories below will be ours. Chapter 8:23. But where is that kid? Not only were the people from the heavenly region searching for Lin Yu, but even the four great families of the primitive continent were searching for him. They weren't idiots. They knew that the sequence battle had reached its final stage. If they killed Lin Yu and obtained all the territories, they would have a chance to become the final winner, even if they had to run for their lives to buy time. Whoever killed Lin Yu would be the first on the sequence battle board. Even Lin Yu didn't expect this. After Lin Yu killed Lei Dong and the others, he didn't go to the other territories immediately. He was worried that he would become the target of public criticism like this. But even so, he still failed. Could it be that someone is opposing me? Lin Yu frowned. He had a bad feeling about this. The rules of the 10-square world weren't like this at the beginning. Lin Yu could only think of one person who could affect the rules of the 10-square world. The six-winged Divine King. Baijiu hid behind a big rock at the edge of the ceiling array. He wasn't stupid. He knew that although he had to protect Lin Yu and his teammates, it didn't mean that he could wait for others to come. Instead of letting others know that there was someone here, it was better to pretend that it was an empty city. He knew that the people of the primitive continent and the heavenly region were searching for Lin Yu. Once he was targeted, the two forces would rush over. At that time, no matter how strong the captain was, he wouldn't be a match for them. Haha, so he's here. Looks like we're lucky. It was just a pity that just as White Nine was putting on an empty fort strategy, someone still discovered him. White Nine shuddered violently. He glanced out of the corner of his eye and saw that the newcomer was standing on top of the teleportation array. He was looking down and his gaze was fixed on him. I'm Nangong Huang. Get lost if you don't want to die. There were two people. One of them introduced himself. Baijiu recognized the other one. He was Nangong Tian, the first heir of the Nangong family, one of the four great families. Big brother, this person also has 10% of the territory. It's that Baijiu from the demon region. Then kill him, Nangong Tian said coldly. As soon as he finished his sentence, he was filled with coldness. It was as if Baijiu was a dead man. Before Nangong Tian could even look at Baijiu, Nangong Huang had already attacked him. Flames wrapped around his body and a fire dragon erupted from his glabella, fusing with his entire being. It was as if he was the fire dragon, and the fire dragon was him. The aura of the 10,000 souls seal caused Baijiu's mind to rumble. Although he was also in the 10,000 soul realm, he had not fused with the 10,000 soul seal. Compared to the real 10,000 soul realm, the difference was obvious. If I devour you, your territory will be mine. Nangong Huang laughed and was about to charge forward, but Nangong Tian raised his hand and stopped him. Big brother? Nangong Tian did not answer. Instead, he looked down at Baijiu with a sense of superiority. Baijiu was nothing in his eyes, but Nangong Tian was more interested in another person. Do you know where Lin Yu is? If you do, I can spare your life. Nangong Tian's voice was heard. Although this person was asking a question, there was a commanding tone in his voice. Baijiu snorted. I don't know. Even if I did, I wouldn't tell you. If that's the case, then die. Nangong Tian's gaze landed on the city. At the center of the city, he saw the traces of a battle. At the same time, there was a broken compass on the ground. With Nangong Tian's knowledge, he could naturally recognize that the compass was the treasure of Dong Xing Taoist sect, the Extreme Path Compass. The Extreme Path Compass is indestructible, but it's not a weapon. Nangong Tian squinted his eyes. He was extremely intelligent. He knew that the Extreme Path Compass would only be broken under a strong demonic aura. Soon, Nangong Tian fixed his gaze on the entrance behind the compass. Damn it! Baijiu was shocked. He knew that Lin Yu's location was exposed. He wanted to stop him, but Nangong Huang attacked him with a fire dragon. Get lost! Baijiu roared. He unleashed his 10,000 spirits realm cultivation and formed a huge wall of air. The fire dragon hit the wall of air, and there were thousands of waves. The space was broken, and the city wall collapsed. Baijiu spat out a mouthful of blood. He was about to be defeated by this move. There was such a huge difference in combat power between the two of them, even though they were only lacking the 10,000 spirits seal. Baijiu dashed towards Nangong Tian again. He could not let the two of them enter. However, Nangong Tian did not even look at Baijiu. He waved his hand casually, and there was a suction force in his palm. The suction force locked onto Baijiu and sucked him down from the sky. Bang! Baijiu fell to the ground, and his mind was in turmoil. Baijiu had seen this suction force from Lin Yu before. At that time, he almost died on the altar, and Lin Yu saved him with this suction force. But why did Nangong Tian know it too? Nangong Tian was the rightful successor of the Nangong family. The skills that he knew were definitely from the Nangong family. Could it be that the captain was also from the Nangong family? Brother, I made a mistake. Nangong Huang also came and bowed to Nangong Tian. He put Baiju down and let Nangong Tian do it himself. In the past, it was already a taboo for the Nangong family. "Who's down there?" Nangong Tian asked again. Just now, he had tried to use his divine will to check the bottomless entrance. However, his divine thought was blocked by some force, and he could not enter. The entrance was extremely dark, and Nangong Tian could not see anything. Plus, there was a broken compass at the entrance, so he did not dare to enter. "There's a heaven monster inside. Don't go in if you don't want to die." Baiju did not have time to think too deeply. He immediately got up and warned. He was ready to attack again, but he was too weak compared to the two people in front of him. When he was about to attack, he was suppressed by Nangong Huang. Bang! Nangong Huang sneered, "You almost killed me, and you still dare to attack?" If he let Nangong Tian attack again, it would mean that he was useless, and Nangong Huang knew what kind of punishment he would receive. "Seems like Lin Yu is inside." Nangong Tian smiled faintly. Just as he was about to step in, the other families in the primitive continent also noticed this place. "Seems like the two people from the Nangong family have found something. We haven't seen them for so long." Nangong Tian is used to being arrogant. Maybe he's just a maverick. It's hard to say. Let's go and take a look. The person who spoke was a member of the Donghuang family. Ripples from a battle? Those people immediately noticed the traces of a battle at the city gate. It's the 8-land dragon fire. Nangong Huang attacked here. Did he encounter the people from the heavenly region, or is Lin Yu here too? At this moment, Lin Yu's name was well known by all the sequences because he represented the entire realm of 5 elements. "Let's go in first." Nangong Tian squinted his eyes and attacked. Baiju flew out and spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. "He won't expose us, right?" Nangong Huang was worried. "He's just a dying man." After saying that, Nangong Tian brought Nangong Huang into the underground world. Chapter 8:24. Endless Stone Step. The footsteps were getting closer and closer. Nangong Tian and Nangong Huang were about to reach the end. They also saw the altar where the blue flames were located. The altar was bound by layers of chains. Nangong Tian only took a glance at it before he looked at Lin Yu and the rest in front of the altar. Breakthrough. Nangong Huang squinted his eyes, but he didn't dare to do anything without Nangong Tian's order. The two of them came to the lowest level and stood in front of Lin Yu and the others. "A powerful one?" Lin Yu opened his eyes slowly. He knew that Qin Yi and the others were satisfied and didn't need the Heavenman integration talisman anymore. He stood up and left the array where the 4 of them were. He faced Nangong Tian and Nangong Huang alone. "You're Lin Yu?" Nangong Tian asked. Lin Yu could tell that he was the leader and had reached the advanced stage of the 10,000 spirit realm. He was probably one of the top cultivators in the Qinyun domain and the primitive continent. Lin Yu spread out his divine thought to check the outside world. Everyone's divine sense was isolated here, except for Lin Yu's, because his power was closely related to that of the 9-tailed fox. Therefore, Lin Yu was an exception in the underground world and even the entire 10-square world. One more breath. Seeing that Baiju was still alive, Lin Yu decided to leave him alone for now. "Yes." Lin Yu answered Nangong Tian calmly without any fear in his eyes. Nangong Huang was surprised. Very few people wouldn't be afraid when facing Nangong Tian, because his elder brother was the most talented person in the younger generation of the Nangong family. Apart from Nangong Ming, who betrayed the family, Nangong Tian represented the future of the Nangong family. Very well. Nangong Tian stood with his hands behind his back. "Do you want us to do it or do you want to kill yourself?" His words echoed around the altar and were extremely arrogant. As soon as they met, he ordered the other party to commit suicide. Such tyranny was indeed worthy of being the top saving point of the younger generation of the primitive continent. However, he did not know that the person he was facing was not as simple as he imagined. Only these two choices? Lin Yu raised his eyebrows and smiled. Nangong Tian's voice was filled with an irrefutable command. Only these two. He had been arrogant the entire time. Even when his hands were behind his back, he had not stretched them out at all. In Lin Yu's opinion, this person felt that he didn't even have the qualifications to fight with him. Unfortunately, I don't like the choices others give me, Lin Yu replied. Nangong Tian smiled and said, You do have some skills. Lei Dong is considered the best among the trash. I didn't expect him to be defeated by you. When Nangong Tiandu arrived at the realm of 5 elements, he had a rough idea of the situation here. Among these top prodigies, they would always pay attention to the more powerful opponent. As Nangong Tian had said, Lei Dong was the best among the trash. So he thought that the 5 elements realm should be in Lei Dong's pocket. However, he didn't expect that it would be Lin Yu's territory now. Unfortunately, a man's wealth is his own ruin. Since you don't want to make a choice, I'll make one for you. Nangong Tian seemed to have lost his patience. In fact, he also knew how many people outside wanted to kill Lin Yu at this moment. If he killed Lin Yu, he would be number 1 in the sequence battle. He would also be number 1 on the sequence ranking in the future. The number 1 on the sequence ranking would have the right to choose any expert on the God ranking list or the monster God ranking list to be his master. This was the privilege of the top prodigies. Do it. Nangong Tian still didn't do anything. He only gave an order. Nangong Huang, who was behind him, immediately understood. He took a step forward and put his hands in front of him. Cracking sounds could be heard from his bones. Brat, how do you want to die? Noisy. Lin Yu's tone was calm. After saying those 2 words, he slowly stepped forward. How dare you make the first move? Nangong Huang sneered. However, just as he thought that Lin Yu was overestimating himself, he saw that Lin Yu suddenly sped up. There was still some distance between them, but in the next second, Lin Yu was so fast that Nangong Huang couldn't see him clearly. Fast. So fast. Nangong Huang widened his eyes and made a defensive move. There was a huge difference between his combat power and Nangong Tian's. Nangong Tian was an expert at the later stage of the Myriad Soul realm. However, Nangong Huang was only at the early stage. Even so, Nangong Huang could defeat most of the sequences. This was the reason why Nangong Tian dared to let Nangong Huang attack. In his opinion, Lin Yu was similar to Lei Dong, who was only at the early stage of the Myriad Soul realm. Something's wrong. Fire dragons burst out of Nangong Huang's body, and the Myriad Soul seal between his eyebrows surged, trying to surround his body. However, just as he began to move, a finger appeared between his eyebrows in a ghostly manner. The finger was extremely fast and pointed at Nangong Huang's eyebrows. Bang! The 10,000 souls seal that Nangong Huang wanted to activate was destroyed by the finger. Myriad Soul Seal. It was the lifeline of a Myriad Soul realm expert's cultivation. Even if there was a chance to rebuild it after it was destroyed, the first time was always the best. You damn you, ah! Nangong Huang's mind was in turmoil. He saw the person who attacked. It was Lin Yu. However, he couldn't see clearly when Lin Yu appeared in front of him and when he was able to hit between his eyebrows before he could react. Although the Myriad Soul realm was strong. However, the Myriad Soul seal was relatively weak. It could also be called the weakness of a Myriad Soul realm expert. Nangong Huang spat out a few mouthfuls of blood after the Myriad Soul seal was hit. However, when he wanted to retreat to avoid the crisis, Lin Yu had already appeared beside him. You're not even qualified to be my opponent, Lin Yu said casually. As he spoke, half of the green smoke penetrated Nangong Huang's body. Bang bang bang! Nangong Huang's organs were all crushed. Nangong Huang's eyes were filled with endless remorse. He was too careless. How could this brat be so powerful? In fact, Nangong Huang felt that he was even more powerful and ruthless than Nangong Tian before he died. Everything happened too quickly. Even if Nangong Tian thought that Nangong Huang could defeat Lin Yu, it would take some time. However, the situation had changed. Nangong Huang died in Lin Yu's hands, and he was defeated too quickly. Even Nangong Tian, who was always arrogant, couldn't help but feel his heart beating faster at this moment. It's your turn. Lin Yu stared at Nangong Tian. However, even if Nangong Huang saw how powerful Lin Yu was, he still had a trump card. As the most outstanding inheritor of the Nangong family, Nangong Huang couldn't be compared to Nangong Tian's strength. Interesting, you think you can challenge me after killing a piece of trash. Fine. Nangong Tian raised his right hand and clawed. He knew that Lin Yu's body movement was terrifyingly fast. In Nangong Tian's opinion, even he wouldn't be able to gain any advantage against Lin Yu's body movement. Therefore, he wouldn't fight head-on with Lin Yu. At this moment, Nangong Tian clawed with his fingers and a terrifying suction force exploded. It was the fundamental superpower of the Nangong family, devouring the sky. Chapter 825. Nangong Tian used the most powerful superpower of the Nangong family right away. There was no other reason other than that Lin Yu had already defeated Nangong Huang in a matter of seconds. This meant that this person was extremely dangerous. Therefore, Nangong Tian wouldn't give Lin Yu any chance to escape, nor would he allow any accidents to happen to himself. The devouring starry sky exploded and a violent suction force engulfed the entire underground world. There were stone walls on all sides, but at this moment, a strong wind blew and countless cyclones appeared with Nangong Tian as the center, forming a huge whirlpool. Qin Yi and the rest were still in a meditative state, but they also felt a sense of danger. Their clothes began to flutter, and even the ground they were standing on began to shake. A suction force had not only locked onto Lin Yu, but it had also locked onto them. Suck them all dry. Nangong Tian sneered as he knew that Lin Yu was already within the range of his devouring starry sky attack. Not only Lin Yu, Nangong Tian wouldn't let Qin Yi and the rest off either. If he wanted to kill, he would kill all of them. Lin Yu's clothes fluttered, and the ground beneath his feet started to crack. However, he remained still and wasn't affected by the devouring starry sky attack at all. Lin Yu crossed his arms in front of his chest and looked at the airflow caused by the devouring starry sky attack. There was indeed a strong suction force on the airflow that could lock onto his cultivation. However, it seemed to be missing something as compared to his devouring starry sky attack. Impossible, why can't it absorb your cultivation? Nangong Tian immediately realized that something was wrong. On the other hand, Lin Yu ignored him and soon found out the reason. When he inherited the devouring starry sky superpower, he felt a power that didn't belong to Glory Qi in the cave. The power was mysterious, and it was integrated into Lin Yu's body after he and Nangong Yu had sex. Since then, Lin Yu had the devouring starry sky superpower. To put it simply, he didn't cultivate the devouring starry sky by himself. It was injected into his cultivation by Nangong Ming, Nangong Yu's mother. As for the medium, it was Nangong Yu. Your devouring starry sky is pretty good. Lin Yu smiled and looked at Nangong Tian. The latter was already in shock. He moved unhindered across the primitive continent, thinking that this move of his could absorb the enemy's cultivation base, making him nearly invincible. But today, what was going on? I can't sense your cultivation. Could it be that you don't have any cultivation? Nangong Tian asked doubtfully. But this was even more impossible. Without cultivation, how could he have killed Nangong Huang? Cultivation, I have it. As soon as Lin Yu finished speaking, he activated his cultivation and a majestic Yao Qi entered the celestial fox 10,000 souls seal between his eyebrows. Behind him, the silhouette of a snow-white demonic beast appeared. This demonic beast only had one tail. When it was summoned by Lin Yu, a violent aura swept through the entire area. Heaven Grade 10,000 Souls Seal. No, it's not just Heaven Grade. Nangong Tian was shocked again. He was now certain that Lin Yu had a cultivation level, and he was a 10,000 Spirit Realm expert with a Heaven Grade 10,000 Spirit Seal or above. However, why didn't the Devouring Stars Seal work on him? Don't think about it. Your Devouring Stars Seal seems to be a pirated version. Lin Yu said casually. Nangong Tian was furious. This is the invincible superpower passed down in the Nangong family. How can it be fake? Lin Yu didn't bother to argue with him, because facts spoke louder than words. Therefore, Lin Yu raised his hand, and an aura also exploded from his hand. This aura belonged to Lin Yu. Devouring Stars Seal. Gather the power of the stars in my hand for my use. Devouring Stars Seal. Lin Yu said calmly. Instantly, the devouring power that was attached to Qin Yi and the others disappeared. The cyclone in the underground world also turned from 1 to 2. The second cyclone belonged to Lin Yu. Impossible, impossible, how can you devour stars? Nangong Tian was shocked again. He knew how precious the Devouring Stars Seal was. It was the most precious treasure of the Nangong family. As for himself, after 20 years of hard work and astonishing talent, he had crushed all of the younger generation of the Nangong family and firmly sat on the throne of the first successor. Only then did he have the opportunity to begin practicing devouring the starry sky under the guidance of the Nangong family's elders. Nangong Tian spent a total of 25 years to get to where he was today. During the 5 years of practicing the Devouring Stars Seal, he had absorbed the power of many enemies. As a result, Nangong Tian's power increased and he officially became one of the top younger generation in the 3 realms and 5 regions. However, the young man in front of him, who looked like he was 15 or 16 years old, could also use the Devouring Stars Seal. Moreover, he seemed to be as familiar with it as Nangong Tian. That was because Nangong Tian felt that his Devouring Stars Seal was restrained by him. The cyclone that belonged to him was being compressed by Lin Yu continuously. 1,000 feet, 500 feet, 200 feet. On the other hand, Lin Yu's Devouring Stars Seal was expanding continuously. After some time, it had already reached 2,000 feet. In the next moment, Nangong Tian spat out a mouthful of blood. His Devouring Stars Seal was completely pushed back into his body. In fact, his current cultivation level was already showing signs of breaking out of his body after Lin Yu's Devouring Stars Seal had locked onto him. Lin Yu was absorbing his power. No, don't absorb me! Nangong Tian roared furiously. However, he knew how terrifying the Devouring Stars Seal was. If he could resist, the tens of thousands of people who were sucked dry by him would have done so long ago. Nangong Tian endured the exhaustion of his cultivation level and tried to rush out of the underground world at full speed. He knew that he had hit a wall this time. Lin Yu was not someone that Lei Dong and the rest could compare to. He was very powerful. Not only could he defeat Lei Dong and become the most powerful person here, he could even use the Nangong family's Devouring Stars Seal. If the elders of the Nangong family found out about this, even if Lin Yu came from the Realm Sea, he would be dead for sure. I'll definitely report this to the elders when I get back. Just you wait. At this moment, Nangong Tian no longer hoped to take away Lin Yu's territory. What he wanted to do was to stay alive and report back to the Nangong family. However, since Lin Yu performed the Devouring Stars Seal, he naturally knew that it would bring him trouble from the Nangong family. However, he definitely had to take revenge on the Nangong family. Because Nangong Yu was still there. The woman who gave him his mother's most important relic, the orthodox Devouring Stars Seal. She was still waiting for Lin Yu to save her. Therefore, Lin Yu would not let Nangong Tian go. I'll use you in exchange for her. Lin Yu raised the corner of his mouth and immediately had an idea. This person must be extremely useful in the eyes of the Nangong family. Although he didn't know the Nangong family well. As a sequence, Nangong Huang was very respectful towards Nangong Tian. Therefore, Nangong Tian's position in the Nangong family was obvious. Using Nangong Tian might be able to force the Nangong family to release Nangong Yu. At the thought of this, Lin Yu tightened his grip. I was just teasing you. He sounded like he was teasing Nangong Tian. However, even though it was just a casual sentence, Nangong Tian could still feel the devouring starry sky power around him. It was 10 times more intense. Chapter 8:26. This brat's devour starry sky was still hiding something. Why is your super power so powerful? Nangong Tian roared in midair. It wasn't just because of his devour starry sky. It was also because this superpower was the supreme technique of the Nangong family and could restrain all the techniques of the Nangong family. Therefore, Nangong Tian's power was completely restrained by Lin Yu. His combat power was nothing in front of Lin Yu. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Nangong Tian couldn't resist anymore and was sucked into the ground. Most of his power was sucked away by Lin Yu at this moment. Nangong Tian was in despair because of this instinctive restraint. He was a supreme talent, but he was pressed to the ground by Lin Yu in the blink of an eye. Let me go. Let me go, the Nangong family can pay any price as long as you let me go. Before Nangong Tian could finish his sentence, Lin Yu stepped on his head. Where is the woman you took from Realm C? Even Nangong Tian, whose life was hanging by a thread, shuddered when he heard that. How did you know? Nangong Tian was shocked. Lin Yu already knew the answer, so he asked again, Who is Nangong Ming to you? And then do you know who Nangong Yu is to you? Yes, she is my cousin. Lin Yu smiled faintly and let go of his foot. Just when Nangong Tian thought that Lin Yu was going to let him go, a footprint flashed past him at an extremely fast speed. With a bang, it hit Nangong Tian's chest. Crack! The sound of bones breaking was heard in Nangong Tian's mind. He flew out and hit the stone wall. At the same time, waves of battle could be heard from the outside world. Lin Yu knew that Bai Jiu was still outside. Just as he was about to leave, behind Lin Yu, the aura of the myriad soul realm soared into the sky, instantly illuminating the underground world. He knew that Lin Xiu broke through to the myriad soul realm. He only needed to absorb the spiritual sense of one more demonic beast before he could condense the 10,000 soul seal. Is there something happening inside? The light of the breakthrough was so dazzling that even the Dong Huang family members outside noticed it. Tell me, is Lin Yu inside? The person who spoke was Dong Huang Yi, one of the 2 sequences of the Dong Huang family. 10,000 soul realm middle stage. Hang him up and keep him alive, the other man said calmly with a lonely expression. After that, then, he arrived at the edge of the altar. This man's aura was much stronger than Dong Huang Ye's. He was the main force of the Dong Huang family this time. He was at the late stage of the 10,000 soul realm, Dong Huang Jing. Boss, I just saw Nangong Tian and Nangong Huang enter. Dong Huang Yi said. But Dong Huang Jing did not panic at all because he saw that there was still no change in the surrounding area. This meant that Nangong Tian did not kill Lin Yu, or he could not kill Lin Yu. They have been in there for so long. If Lin Yu is inside, it means that he is quite capable and can withstand Nangong Tian's attack for a long time. Dong Huang Jing said calmly. Dong Huang Yi immediately understood. Boss, do you mean that we should just wait here? Yes, let's wait and see. I hope that Lin Yu is capable enough to help me consume more of Nangong Tian's energy. Boss, you are so wise. Dong Huang Yi was overjoyed. This was indeed a good plan. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. After Nangong Tian killed Lin Yu and consumed a lot of energy, they would go in and kill Nangong Tian. Wouldn't they be able to get the vast territory of the realm of 5 elements easily? Hee, what are the two of you doing here? Just when Dong Wang Yi and Dong Wang Jing were waiting for the kill. A few laughs came from behind them. Damn it. Dong Wang Jing and Dong Wang Jing cursed in their hearts. They turned around and saw 4 sequences from the Ximing family and the Beimoi family. Dong Wang Jing, is there anything good here? Why are you guarding it like this? These people were all very smart. Naturally, they were also very sensitive and noticed that something was wrong here. There was the aura of Nangong Huang's Fire Dragon 10,000 Souls seal. There was also Bai Jiu hanging on the side. Nothing. It's just that this sequence from the monster area was ungrateful and wanted to take over our territory. I just taught him a lesson. Dong Wang Jing said with an awkward smile. I see. I didn't expect that the young master of the Dong Wang family would deal with the trash of the monster area personally. The person who spoke was the most powerful sequence of the Ximing family, Ximing Zun, who was at the late stage of the 10,000 soul realm. Like Dong Wang Jing, his combat strength was already among the top sequences. He was just slightly weaker than Nangong Tian. As soon as the Ximing Venerable said this, the others also noticed the problem. Obviously, Dong Wang Jing, who had always been arrogant, disdained to deal with Bai Jiu. In the eyes of the 4 families, although they and the 5 regions lived on the primitive continent at the same time, the 4 families looked down on the forces that were weaker than them like the 5 regions. Therefore, Dong Wang Jing's words were suspicious. Everyone looked at Dong Wang Jing with more doubts in their eyes. The atmosphere was in a stalemate. At the entrance of the altar, a ray of light came out again. Is there someone down there? This place blocks our divine thoughts. We can't see what's going on inside? Who broke through to the 10,000 soul realm? The sequences of the 4 families and the Qingyun realm are all in the 10,000 soul realm. Therefore, the people inside can only be from the 5 regions or the realm C. Everyone looked at each other and immediately made a judgment. Lin Yu was very likely to be inside. Damn it, get out of here! The fat sheep was surrounded by a group of people. How could Dong Wang Jing give up? He rushed forward and wanted to be the first to enter the altar before the others attacked. Dong Wang Yi also followed him. The 4 sequences of the Ximing clan and Bei Moi immediately felt that something was wrong. Lin Yu is really inside? Damn it, I knew there was something wrong with Dong Wang Yi. It turns out that he wants to take all the benefits alone. Go, don't let others take the territory of the realm of 5 elements. For a moment, the 6 masters of the 10,000 soul realm were all ready to step into the underground world. However, Dong Wang Jing and Dong Wang Yi, who were at the forefront, felt the aura of a third breakthrough. Another person broke through to the 10,000 soul realm. There is a great fortune inside. Dong Wang Jing was more determined to be the first to enter. However, the moment he stepped into the altar, a ray of black flame blasted out. Retreat! Dong Wang Jing and Dong Wang Yi put their hands in front of their bodies and resisted the attack of the black flame. Rumble! The rest of the people also retreated under the black flame. The 6 masters of the 10,000 soul realm scattered and stared at the young man at the entrance of the altar. It was a white-haired young man with vertical pupils, which was strange and unpredictable. Chapter 8:27. His body exuded the aura of the myriad soul realm, but he had yet to condense the myriad soul seal. Could this person be Lin Yu? His appearance and age are indeed similar, but according to the intelligence, Lin Yu should have black hair. Not Lin Yu, a mere early-stage myriad soul realm, courting death. Dong Wang Jing wanted to attack again, but another attack erupted from the entrance. It was a phantom formed by the divine sense of rebirth in paradise. It was like a pure and flawless beauty, sitting in the air, overlooking all living beings. Divine sense myriad soul realm, it is a rare physique. This woman is not bad, wait for me to take her into my harem. The northern Mo echelon and West Ming Zun sneered one after another. Qini looked at her jade hands. Is this the myriad soul realm? She slowly converged her mind and landed on the ground, standing on the same line as Lin Xiu. At the same time, a blood aura erupted from the entrance. The blood aura soared into the sky, forming a monstrous sea of blood. In the sea of blood there was a shocking demonic aura. A monster broke through? Like a monster, but also like a human. Even Bai Jiu, at this moment, dragged his heavy eyelids and looked at the tall man at the entrance. This guy turns out to be a monster. Bai Jiu was surprised. Even he, who came from the monster domain, didn't see that Lin Yuan's body was actually a monster. A transformed monster could still look so human. Lin Xiu, Qin Yi, and Lin Yuan appeared one after another. The fourth person to appear was the female king of hell. Although she had not stepped into the myriad soul realm, her aura at this moment was already at the peak of the four symbols realm. It was just that the current time was no longer suitable for her to continue her seclusion. The 6 myriad soul realms that appeared in front of her. They were different from Lei Dong and the others. These people were much stronger than Lei Dong and were the true top echelon. They represented the strongest combat power of the primitive continent. Interesting, 3 people broke through the myriad soul realm in a row. In the distance, in the sky, 4 people stood. They were the 4 great echelons of the Tian domain. Qi Lu, Wang Jie, Duke Zhu, and Fallen. The 4 of them were all at the peak of the myriad soul realm. He was only 1 step away from the Spirit King realm. The combat strength of these people added together was stronger than the 8 great sequences of the primitive continent. Because of this, most of the territories in the 5-direction world were under their control. Should we make a move? Qi Lu said. Wang Jie shook his head. There's no rush. Breaking through 3 10,000 spirit realm in a row, maybe those people have some trump cards. The other 3 from Tian, you also understood what he meant. Just like Dong Wang Yi and Dong Wang Jing at the beginning, they were going to sit on the mountain and watch the tigers fight. That was fast. A 5th figure appeared at the entrance of the altar. When the figure was thrown out, everyone was surprised to see that it was the top genius of the Nangong family, Nangong Tian. What? Nangong Tian, how did someone like him get thrown out? Interesting. Did the arrogant Nangong Tian kick an iron plate this time? The people of the Ximing, Beimua, and Dongwang clans were not only shocked, but more of them were adding insult to injury. On the other hand, Nangong Tian gritted his teeth as he lay on the ground. However, he had lost all his cultivation as all of it had been absorbed by the devouring starry sky. Even the devouring starry sky in his body had been absorbed. The superpower that the elders claimed would stay in their bodies forever was also absorbed by Lin Yu. In comparison, Nangong Tian was sure that Lin Yu's devouring starry sky was the orthodox one. Nangong Ming, UB TC. How dare you give the orthodox devouring starry sky to an outsider? Nangong Tian cursed in his heart. He had already understood everything. The reason why he was restrained was that he knew a secret of the Nangong family. The Nangong family's devouring starry sky was divided into 2 parts. One was the orthodox one, which could only be obtained through the inheritance of the saintess. The saintess body was the medium. However, if the saintess was unwilling, her inheritance would be given to her daughter after marriage. Therefore, Fan Tong did not master the devouring starry sky. Nangong Ming left the key to activate the devouring starry sky in Nangong Yu's body. That was why Nangong Yu said that according to Nangong Ming's instructions, she could only bring the man she truly loved there. The other part of the devouring starry sky was left in the superpower scroll in the hands of the Nangong family elders. One could only learn the devouring starry sky through cultivation. However, compared to the former, the latter could not reach the purity of the inheritance of the Nangong family's saintesses, no matter how hard one tried to cultivate. No, I have to live on. Nangong Yu no longer has the devouring starry sky in her body, so she has no value to live on. The reason why the Nangong family had not killed Nangong Yu was because Nangong Ming was dead. They instinctively thought that the orthodox inheritance of the devouring starry sky was still in Nangong Yu's body. The mystery of the devouring starry sky was not something that the Nangong family elders could find out. Therefore, they could not confirm that the devouring starry sky was no longer in Nangong Yu's body. Bang! However, just as Nangong Tian was having this thought, Lin Yu stepped on him again. It seems like everyone from the primitive mainland is here. He spoke calmly. Everyone else was silent because they saw Nangong Tian being stepped on by him. There might be someone who was as powerful as Nangong Tian in the crowd. However, none of them could beat Nangong Tian to such a state. Besides, they also knew that the most troublesome thing to deal with Nangong Tian was not his peak 10,000 spirits realm cultivation, but the divine power of the Nangong family, the invincible devouring starry sky. However, right now a Nangong Tian was being stepped on by Lin Yu. He is Lin Yu, there is no mistake. Kill him and we will get all the territories here. This is a big piece of meat, let's attack him together. However, even though the West Nether Venerable shouted, the others did not attack. They were still observing. After all, the situation in front of them was a little strange. Nangong Tian's ending was right in front of them. Why didn't the captain break Nangong Tian's tendons and only injure his cultivation? The Queen of Hell asked softly. If Nangong Tian was saved now, he would definitely be able to return to his peak with the other party's resources. By then, the few of them would have to face the counterattack of Nangong Tian and the Nangong family. The captain has his own ideas, Qin said. Qin said. She trusted Lin Yu's every move. Even though she did not know that Lin Yu did not really cripple Nangong Tian, he wanted to exchange him for Nangong Yu. If Nangong Tian really became a cripple, the Nangong family, who had always been utilitarian, would probably not be willing to exchange Nangong Yu for a cripple. Lin Yu, it seems like you are quite capable. However, look carefully, we have 10,000 spirits realm here. Seeing that no one was willing to deal with Lin Yu, the West Nether Venerable decided to test him with his words. Lei Dong's side also has 10,000 spirits realm. Guess what happened to him? Chapter 828. Lin Yu just said casually. But the result. When they saw the territory of the realm of 5 elements, how could they not know that the territory fell into Lin Yu's hands because Lei Dong and the others were all dead? The 10,000 souls realm experts were all dead, although they had already guessed the reason. But when Lin Yu said it, they were still a little shocked. This should not be something that a sequence from the vulgar sea area should have the courage to say. When everyone was shocked, Dong Wang Jing and Dong Wang Yi looked at each other. At the same time, they appeared beside Bai Jiu. Lin Yu, is this your man? Dong Wang Jing said and then punched Bai Jiu. Crack! The bones in his chest suddenly broke, and Bai Jiu spat out a big mouthful of blood. How about it? As the captain, don't you feel embarrassed to see your man suffer? Dong Wang Yi said with a smile. It was easy to guess that Lin Yu was the captain. After all, only the captain of the alliance could be the first to get the territory. The crowd also sneered. Although this was not the style of the 4 families. But now, it was a good idea to use Bai Jiu to mess up Lin Yu. It would be better to test the real situation of Lin Yu. What Dong Wang Jing and Bai Jiu did was a good idea. Seeing this, the sequences of the other 3 families also consciously surrounded Bai Jiu. Obviously, they did not want Lin Yu to save people. In other words, they wanted to force Lin Yu to come and save people. Once the other side rushed over, there would be a chance to expose his flaws. At that time, these top talents, the strongest young generation in the primitive continent, would have a chance to find his flaws and push Lin Yu to eternal damnation. "Captain, don't worry about me." Baiju spat out a big mouthful of blood, and his face was full of humiliation. He wanted to commit suicide, but Dong Wang Yi pointed between his eyebrows. "Boy, you want to blow yourself up? You have no chance." The next moment, Dong Wang Ye's seal of 10,000 souls came out from his fingertips and directly attacked Baijiu's divine thoughts. "Ah!" White Nine howled in pain. Martial Dao powerhouses could rely on their powerful spiritual consciousness to restrain the pain of their bodies. But if their spirit was tortured, it would be worse than death. "Bastards, these bastards!" Enraged, the female king of hell rushed out. However, the West Nether Reverend immediately sneered. The 10,000 souls seal flashed, and a sword of energy shot out. The female king of hell had already exposed her weakness, and the chi sword directly hit her vulnerable spot. With a whoosh, it pierced through her abdomen. Can't even withstand a single blow. As soon as the West Nether Reverend finished speaking, a hook flew out from one of the Baima family's echelon cultivators, directly hooking the female king of hell. "Stop!" Qin Yi braced herself and attacked. When she reappeared, she was already beside Yama. The hook collided with Qin Yi's arm. Bang! Qin Yi tried to use her cultivation to resist, but the owner of the hook laughed. "I knew there would be people who are not afraid of death." He turned around instantly. In fact, he had already prepared a card and was waiting for others to save her. In the next moment, the hook that was originally bounced off actually bounced back again and circled Qin Yi's right arm a few times. "Little beauty, come here." The Baima echelon laughed and pulled, and Qin Yi suddenly lost her balance. Lin Xiu and Lin Yuan saw this and attacked at the same time. Lin Yuan smashed down with his fist, and the chain in front of the hook shattered instantly and was hit on the ground. Qin Yi's body that was being pulled also regained her freedom. As for Lin Xiu, the divine item behind him shone brightly, and endless black flames burst out from the sky reflecting mirror. The black flames refined from the golden crow fire completely erupted Lin Xiu's combat strength at this moment. The raging black flames fell, and the large-scale attack made everyone frown. "You dare to show off in front of me with this kind of flame?" The Baima echelon was already a little unhappy that his hook was interrupted, and at this moment, a cold aura burst out from his body. In between his eyebrows, the myriad soul realm erupted and transformed into a big python. The python's body was actually covered in layers of bright red ice. Mysterious myriad soul realm, frost blood python. "This kid is something." The Baima echelon roared, and the frost blood python circled in the sky and directly blocked the black flames that shot down. Those black flames hit the blood python and were all blocked by the blood ice, unable to break its body at all. Lin Xiu frowned, knowing that he was still a distance away from the real myriad soul seal. His figure changed, and a demon god appeared behind him again. "Bite him to death for me." The blood python also opened its bloody mouth and shot out dozens of ice pillars directly. In the sky, the battle between Lin Xiu and the Baima echelon erupted. Below, the West Nether Venerable wanted to sneak an attack on Qin Yi, but was stopped by Lin Yuan. "Your opponent is me. A mere myriad soul realm warrior dares to be rash." The West Nether Venerable sneered, and the myriad soul seal between his eyebrows erupted, and a sword dragon broke through the air. 10,000 rays of sword chi directly locked onto Lin Yuan. "War Emperor Phantom!" Lin Yuan roared, and the phantom of the myriad beast War Emperor appeared behind him. At this moment, the phantom was countless times larger and stronger than the myriad beast War Emperor. It was the strongest state that Lin Yuan could display with the myriad soul realm. "The combat strength of these two is not bad?" The West Nether Venerable was stopped, and the second echelon of the Baima family had already targeted Qin Yi. You are a divine sense myriad soul realm, right? Me too. That person rushed toward Chinyi, and at the same time, the myriad soul seal between his eyebrows erupted, and it turned out to be a huge wheel. Mysterious myriad soul seal, divine sense wheel king beast. Under the wheel, there were actually countless eyeballs, and it was extremely terrifying. Disgusting. Chinyi cursed, and her jade-like hands formed a seal in front of her chest, and the divine sense of rebirth in paradise erupted. Her divine sense split into 2, 2 into 4, and 4 into 10. It was like 10 generations of great Tao, and she attacked with a loud bang. Bang bang bang! The three of them held back the 3 myriad soul realms at the same time. What's wrong with these 3 people? They have just broken through the myriad soul realm, but they are actually fighting with opponents at the middle stage of the myriad soul realm? I think the foundation of these 3 people must be very powerful. When they were in the 4 symbols realm, they had already accumulated a perfect foundation. Now that they have stepped into the myriad soul realm, they can have top-level combat strength so quickly. Although Chinyi and the others were still struggling to deal with the middle stage of the myriad soul realm, in Lin Yu's opinion, they had already done a good job. The remaining 3 people were Dong Wangjing, Dong Wangyi, and the second echelon of the West Nether clan, Shi Mingjue. The 3 of them fixed their eyes on Lin Yu at the same time. He was the only one who didn't really attack. Dong Wangyi, it seems that your means are just SOSO. He didn't shout loudly enough. Shi Mingjue sneered, and naturally, he was reminding Dong Wangyi. If he wanted to break Lin Yu's Taoist heart, then Baijiu would have to suffer a little more. Let me die, let me die. Don't worry, you won't die. I will torture you slowly. Dong Wangyi laughed, as if the more miserable Baijiu shouted, the more excited he would be. Chapter 829. Hearing Dong Wangye's words, Baijiu endured the severe pain. His eyes were bloodshot and blue veins were bulging on his face. But his voice was getting lower and lower. Damn it, shout louder! Dong Wangyi was very unhappy and increased the strength of his divine thoughts, but Baijiu's voice was still getting lower and lower. Boy, you can really endure it? Dong Wangyi directly increased the strength of his divine thoughts, while Shi Mingjue on the side reminded him, be careful not to kill him. He had already seen that Baijiu's eyes, ears, and nostrils were all gushing out blood. Obviously, this person was struggling to endure the pain of the divine thoughts, and in the process, even his combat body was injured. Dong Wangyi did not attack his combat body, but Baijiu's combat body was bleeding from his 7 orifices. It was imaginable how much pain Baijiu's divine thoughts were suffering at this moment. Damn it, shout! How can you not bring Lin Yu here? Dong Wangyi was anxious and directly released his divine thought. The next moment, endless thunder seemed to appear in Baijiu's mind, and each thunder was adding to his pain. Lin Yu glanced in the distance, where the 4 sequences of the Qingyun domain were also staring at him. Boy, it seems that you have no other choice. Bai Xiaoli's voice came. Lin Yu sighed. Bai Xiaoli smiled and said, don't worry, if it's just these people, even if you use all your trump cards, they are no match for you. That's the best. Lin Yu had long wanted to take action, but considering the overall situation, he could not act rashly. He was the last trump card of his camp, so he had to be careful step by step. If even he showed a flaw and fell in front of these people, then Chinyi, Lin Yuan, Lin Xiu, and the Queen of Hell would end up worse than Baijiu. I'm just worried that your opponents are not only these people. Bai Xiaoli said again. Lin Yu frowned. Spirit King Realm cultivators can enter the 10-square world? Among the sequences here, the strongest was only at the peak of the 10,000 souls realm. Lin Yu could still deal with them. However, if it was a Spirit King Realm expert, it would not be easy to deal with. A Spirit King Realm battle body can't enter the 10-square world, but Spirit Sense can. Once there was a very strong guy who came here. His personality is similar to yours. Bai Xiaoli's words made Lin Yu even more worried. If that was the case, there might be more variables in the end of the battle here. Forget it. Lin Yu knew that now was not the time to think about this. His figure changed as he moved. The moment he moved, all the gazes that had stopped on him also moved at this moment. This brat has finally made his move. Let's see how he can defeat Nangong Tian and Lei Dong. However, what they saw was Lin Yu transforming into a white light and rushing towards Bai Jiu. Captain, be careful. Bai Jiu knew that Lin Yu did not give up on him in the end. He was full of guilt and knew that Lin Yu had to take a great risk to save him this time. The sequences of the primitive continent were in the light. The sequences of the Qingyun realm were in the dark. Once they exposed their trump cards in order to save him, they would face a greater crisis. I'm sorry. I'm not strong enough. Bai Jiu coughed up blood. Even now, Dong Wangyi had stopped and was observing Lin Yu's movements with Shi Mingjue and Dong Wangjing. However, the pain in Bai Jiu's heart was even deeper than before. He saw Qin Yi, Lin Yuan, and Lin Xiu, who were fighting fiercely. The three of them were weaker than him at the beginning, but at this moment, the three of them had surpassed him in combat strength. Their potential was much greater than his. Bai Jiu gritted his teeth. If he could survive this time, he would not be Lin Yu's burden for the second time. This guy has some skills. I can't see him clearly. Dong Wangjing and Shi Mingjue were at the peak of the myriad soul realm. But Dong Wangyi, who was behind them, could not help but curse secretly. Because he was only at the middle stage of the myriad soul realm, he could not see Lin Yu's movements now. Seeing this, Dong Wangyi took a step back subconsciously. Because he was the one who abused Bai Jiu. Maybe the first person Lin Yu killed would be him. Thinking of this, Dong Wangyi could not help but be vigilant. He disappeared. Damn it, he can be faster. From the beginning of the white light to now, Lin Yu had completely disappeared from their sight. The speed was so fast that Dong Wangjing and Shi Mingjue were shocked. The two of them released their cultivation and the myriad soul seal surrounded their bodies. They were in their strongest state, ready to kill Lin Yu at any time when he appeared. In the distance, the sequences of the Qingyun realm narrowed their eyes. Can you see him clearly? Very fast, I can barely see him clearly. He is coming. As soon as Qi Lu finished his words, Lin Yu had appeared again. But he did not appear in front of Dong Wangjing and Shi Mingjue. Instead, he appeared in front of Dong Wangyi. Damn it! Dong Wangjing and Shi Mingjue noticed Lin Yu's attack. When they turned around, Lin Yu had already caught Dong Wangyi, who was scared out of his wits. He was so fast that his right hand directly transformed into four-sword qi. The four-sword qi cut off the tendons of Dong Wangye's hands and feet respectively. Ah! Dong Wangyi screamed in pain. Then Dong Wangjing and Shi Mingjue attacked Lin Yu. However, Lin Yu did not even look at them. Azura burst out. A dark magic shadow rose from the ground and formed an indestructible defense. Bang bang bang. The opponent's attacks were all blocked by Azura. At this moment, Lin Yu had already carried Dong Wangyi, who had no strength to resist, to Bai Jiu. His eyes flashed, and the chains that were hanging Bai Jiu were cut off. Captain, I am sorry, Bai Jiu apologized. When he regained his freedom, he could not stand steadily and fell to the ground, trembling. But even in such a great pain, Bai Jiu still had his dignity. He knew that he was a burden to Lin Yu. It doesn't matter. Lin Yu just smiled faintly. His smile made Bai Jiu feel relieved. It seemed that he was telling Bai Jiu that the situation in front of him was nothing at all. The next moment, Bai Jiu was shocked to find that all his injuries were healed at this moment. This was exactly the same as when he faced the fierce laughing ghost. At that time, they were injured by the fierce laughing ghost. After Lin Yu appeared, they were healed in an instant. Instead of being healed, it was better to say that their bodies were restored to the state before they were injured. I want him to suffer 10 times more pain than you. Lin Yu threw Dong Wangyi down. Dong Wangyi, whose tendons were cut, was instantly suppressed by Baijiu. Captain, leave the others to me. Lin Yu turned around, and Shi Mingjue and Dong Wangjing had already rushed up. Chapter 830. Baijiu knew that he was no match for these people. Now that Lin Yu had given the order, he looked at Dong Wangyi, who was begging for mercy on the ground. Every dog has its day. Let me go, I was wrong. I was wrong. It was also the destruction of the divine thoughts. However, at first, Dong Wangyi had to consider whether he could kill Baijiu. But Baijiu didn't need to do that. Lin Yu's order was very simple. He wanted Dong Wangyi to suffer 10 times more than he did. This was to vent Baijiu's anger, and also to disturb the Taoist heart of the people on the primitive continent. What was more, it was a warning to the people in the Qinyun region. This was the result of offending Lin Yu. Dong Wangyi didn't have the endurance of Baijiu. In an instant, his painful roar resounded in all directions. This guy is so cruel. Not really. He just wants to give him a taste of his own medicine. Wang Jie and Qi Lu said one after another. Around the battlefield where Lin Yu was. After hearing Dong Wangye's voice, Qin Yi and the others were very confident. However, because of Dong Wangyi, their opponents were distracted for a moment. The three of them found an opportunity to fight back immediately. From being at a disadvantage, they were now evenly matched. In front of Lin Yu, Shi Mingjue and Dong Wangjing were a little confused. This guy didn't even need to make a move, but he could resist their attacks. He was not simple. Split into 2 directions. Shi Mingjue said, and Dong Wangjing also nodded. The two of them attacked Lin Yu from left and right at the same time. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The two of them thought that Lin Yu's movement was extremely fast, so they didn't choose to attack from a distance. That would only give Lin Yu a chance to dodge easily. Once they lost Lin Yu's vision again, maybe the next moment, they would end up like Dong Wangyi. So the two of them attacked at the same time, and they chose to fight at close range. Bang bang! Western Mingjue punched out, aiming straight for Lin Yu's face. Lin Yu didn't even look at him. He lifted his right hand and pointed out. Sword qi gushed out from his fingertips. Bang bang bang! Shi Mingjue's fist energy was scattered, but a fine silver needle flew out from between his eyebrows. 10,000 feet poisonous scorpion. Shi Mingju activated the 10,000 souls seal. The silver needle came from the tail of the 10,000 feet poisonous scorpion. However, Lin Yu's perception was fully activated. With a flick of his finger, the silver needle immediately changed its direction. Dong Wangjing, who was about to attack from the right, was shocked. He immediately dodged and was almost hit by the silver needle. Western Mingjue, are you King trying to kill me? What does it have to do with me? It's this brat. Western Dark Abyss was speechless. He had killed countless opponents with this move, but he didn't expect this brat's reaction to be so fast. Once again, he swept out his foot. Dong Wangjing, who had adjusted his state, also raised his foot in the air. The two of them attacked Lin Yu from both sides, one above and one below. Lin Yu was not in a hurry. He just raised his right hand and blocked Dong Wangjing's foot. Got it! Shi Mingju kicked Lin Yu's leg. He thought that Lin Yu would lose his balance and expose more flaws. However, he felt a sharp pain in his foot. The hardness of Lin Yu's body was beyond his imagination. Damn it! This brat has reached the 10,000 souls realm. Shi Mingju cursed. His leg was almost broken by himself. However, when he wanted to withdraw his foot, Lin Yu lifted his foot at a faster speed and directly stepped on the air where Shi Mingju was about to withdraw his foot. Ah! Shi Mingju screamed in pain. His right calf was stepped on by Lin Yu and smashed to the ground. Dong Wang Jing! Shi Mingju cried for help, but Dong Wang Jing was helpless. His attack was also blocked by Lin Yu. Damn it, the heavenly grade 10,000 souls seal and the shaman demonic spider. Dong Wang Jing exerted all his strength. A huge phantom of a spider appeared and bit down on Lin Yu. What a waste of time! Lin Yu stepped on Shi Mingju's foot and rose into the air. He raised his right hand and the phantom of Azura burst out. The sky above seemed to be sucked in. The sky instantly compressed, turning into an incomparably sharp disk of qi. It was the extreme Devil Tao Tian. The extreme Devil Tao Tian broke through the air and collided with the heavenly grade 10,000 souls seal spider. The spider's body was instantly sliced apart as if it was a dried twig. The 10,000 souls seal was injured and Dong Wang Jing spat out a mouthful of blood. He stared at the extreme Devil Tao Tian that cut open the spider and felt a sense of crisis. This thing is so sharp. Dong Wang Jing dodged again and again, but Lin Yu was too lazy to chase after him. With his right hand, the extreme Devil Tao Tian smashed down directly. Below him was Shi Mingju, who had just wanted to escape and was dragging half of his leg. No. Looking at the extreme Devil Tao Tian that was constantly enlarging in the sky, Shi Mingju's voice was still in the air, but his whole body had been cut into two. His head was separated from his body. At the same time, as the extreme Devil Tao Tian exploded, Shi Mingju's body could be said to have turned into ashes. The most powerful genius of the Shi Ming family died at this moment. In the distance, Shi Mingju noticed the death of Shi Mingju and was also confused. And this flaw was immediately discovered by Lin Yuan. With a full blow, Shi Mingju was hit by Lin Yuan, and his whole body smashed to the ground. Damn it, why are you so difficult to deal with? Lin Yuan's injuries were more serious than his, but the other party was like a killing machine. The more he fought, the stronger he became, and he couldn't stop at all. At this moment, as soon as Shi Mingju fell, Lin Yuan wouldn't give him a chance to fight back. He raised his hands, and a powerful blood energy instantly gathered on his fists. The fist energy of his hands merged, and at this moment, countless blood-colored fist shadows burst out. These fist shadows were not substantial, nor were they any techniques, but Lin Yuan's powerful body rubbed against the air at high speed. Air cannon! Tens of thousands of air cannons fell, and the whole continent began to shake. Shi Mingju's roar came out from the beginning and was swallowed up in the next moment, all in the blink of an eye. The people of Tianyu had been shocked by the extreme Devil Tao Tian displayed by Lin Yu. What kind of technique is that? I'm afraid it's not a technique. With such power, I'm afraid it's a magical ability. In the small low-level sea area, there is actually a sequence that knows magical abilities. Interesting. Even the people of Tianyu had to be afraid of Lin Yu at this moment. From the beginning, they sat on the mountain and watched the tigers fight. Until now, they had foreseen that the winner of the battle between these two forces would be Tianyu. If we make a move now, we might have a chance to join forces with the people of the primitive continent to kill Lin Yu. Wang Jie said. We are the dignified Tianyu, why do we need to join forces with that group of trash? Let them all die, and then it won't be too late for us to make a move. They are just a few small fries of Tianyu. Qi Lu sneered. Now, it would be best if he helped us deal with the others. Yes, if our Tianyu joined forces with them, it would be lowering our status. Chapter 831. Yes, if our Tian domain joins forces with them, it will be lowering our status. The third sequence Duke Ju also said. Fallen, what do you think? Qi Lu asked the fourth sequence. This person was taciturn, but his judgment of the situation was extremely accurate. That kid is not simple, the three of us need to work together to deal with him. The fourth sequence Fallen spoke. He was a middle-aged man and could be said to be the military advisor of the four. Fallen, you think too highly of Lin Yu. He doesn't think highly of Lin Yu. I think he is looking down on us? Wang Jie and Duke Ju said coldly. Although these people represented the Qin Yun realm, they were just as conceited in character. Not to mention that the people of the Tian domain boasted of being the masters of the 3 realms and 5 regions. Their individual strength alone was invincible among the younger generation of the 3 realms and 5 regions. So they naturally did not value the other younger generation. Now Fallen said that the 3 of them needed to work together to defeat Lin Yu. Wasn't this sentence looking down on them? You guys just be careful. Fallen was too lazy to argue and stared at Lin Yu the whole time, as if analyzing the other party's weakness. Unfortunately, his gaze was filled with helplessness and shock, because he couldn't find Lin Yu's weakness. This person's combat experience was definitely not something he could have at his age. Who the hell is he? While Fallen was pondering, Dong Wangjing also died in the hands of Lin Yu. Since Lin Yu made a move, he would not give the other party a chance to live. If these people of the top forces were to return, then he would have endless troubles in the future. And Lin Yuan also defeated Shi Mingzun. Shi Mingzun's combat strength was not as good as Shi Mingzun's. After Shi Mingzun's death, his combat strength was indeed a lot more chaotic. Coupled with Lin Yuan's battle instinct, he was extremely difficult to deal with. Under the tens of millions of air cannons, Shi Mingzun was already dead. In other directions, after Lin Xiu saw that Lin Yuan had defeated West Mingzun, his northern Mo sequence opponent was also distracted. After all, the Dongwang family and Shi Ming family had all fallen, including Nangong Tian at the beginning. Out of the 4 major families, 3 of them had died. Damn it, I can't fight anymore. There is something strange about this group of people. Bei Mua's 2 echelons wanted to retreat at the same time, but the battle was already halfway through. Once they had the thought of retreating, how could the other party give up just like that? As a result, Qin Yi and Lin Xiu attacked with all their might, and the northern Mo echelon also showed signs of defeat. Lin Yu knew that the outcome of their battle would be decided very soon. Go and help him, Lin Yu ordered. After killing Dong Wangyi, Bai Jiu, who was in a good mood, and Lin Yuan, who had defeated West Mingzun, joined the battlefield again. With a wave of his hand, Lin Yu appeared beside Yama and healed her injuries. The female Yama had a guilty look on her face. Just like White Nine, she felt that she had been a burden. She had never thought that she would be able to reach this stage. At this moment, everyone in the Realm C, except for Lin Yu's camp, was dead. And of the 4 major families of the primitive continent and the people of the 5 regions, only Bai Jiu, who had joined Lin Yu, was left. If she hadn't listened to Qin Yi at the beginning and chose to join Lin Yu, she might have been among the dead now. Captain, thank you. Yama cupped her fists and thanked him. Lin Yu just nodded casually. Stepping into the air, he looked into the distance. Over there, the 4 echelons of the Qin Yun domain, the strongest opponents in this echelon battle, were ready to attack. Lin Yu knew that the real battle had just begun. But all of a sudden, Bai Xiaoli's warning voice rang out. Someone is coming, very strong. From Bai Xiaoli's words, the one who could be described as strong was naturally not any of the echelons present. The only explanation was that the powerhouses on the divine ranking list had come. Before Lin Yu could speak, a man walked over from the distance. This man was dressed in luxurious clothes, with sword-like eyebrows and starry eyes. His arrogant temperament made Lin Yu's heart tremble uncontrollably. This person, Lin Yu's intuition told him that this was the strongest person he had ever met. In fact, the moment this person appeared, the system immediately activated the self-reset plan. Once Lin Yu encountered a life and death crisis, the system would automatically reset Lin Yu's body to save his life. The last time it reset itself was the moment before Lin Yu stepped into the altar. And the last time was when he faced the Dark Priest. The powerhouse who appeared in front of him was in existence on the same level as the Dark Priest and Bai Xiaoli. And Lin Yu. In addition to the sense of danger, there were two other feelings. They were familiarity and disgust. Who is he? Lin Yu was puzzled. This person gave him a familiar feeling, but he was sure that he had never seen him before. And that person slowly walked over from the air. His figure was somewhat illusory. Just as Bai Xiaoli said, the top powerhouses of the Spirit King realm and above were unable to enter the 10-square world. They could only come with their divine sense. And even if Bai Xiaoli did not deliberately explain, Lin Yu also knew that although Venerable Wuya, who was at the Spirit King realm, was also a powerhouse on the divine ranking list, their ability was not enough to enter the 10-square world. Those who could enter should be at least at the late stage of the Spirit King realm, or even higher. What realm is he at? Peak of the Spirit King realm. After hearing Bai Xiaoli's answer, Lin Yu nodded. But then he heard Bai Xiaoli say, "I'm referring to the power of his divine sense, not his actual body." This sentence made Lin Yu's breathing quicken. Just a divine sense had the combat power of the peak of the Spirit King realm? Then what kind of terrifying realm was this person's actual body? "Let's go," Bai Xiaoli reminded Lin Yu. But the latter was locked in by the other party's gaze. "I finally see you. You really came back." The other party's voice transmitted, and his figure approached Lin Yu. The two of them were separated by a distance of 10 feet. Bai Xiaoli knew that it was too late to escape. She hid in Lin Yu's body and did not speak, but she still reminded Lin Yu to be careful. "Who are you?" Lin Yu asked. That person's eyes were slightly curved. It was a smile, but Lin Yu felt a sense of contempt in that smile. Lin Yu stared at the other party's gaze, only to see the other party slowly open his mouth. His lazy voice had a hint of mockery as he said, "My little brother, you actually forgot me. My little brother, you actually forgot me." These words were like a bolt of lightning that exploded in Lin Yu's mind. Not only Lin Yu, but even Bai Xiaoli was stunned. This invincible expert who suddenly appeared said that Lin Yu was his little brother? "While you weren't in the sky region, everyone missed you very much, little brother." The other party stretched out a hand toward Lin Yu. "My little brother, come back to the sky region. Come back to my side, and I will treat you well, as long as you hand over the God King's token." Chapter 832. Lin Yu's mind spun quickly. Heaven Domain. Emperor. He immediately thought of the other party's identity. No wonder a divine thought that descended to 10-square world could have the strength of the peak of Spirit King realm. The man in front of him who claimed to be his brother was actually number 1 on the god list, the strongest in the 3 realms and 5 regions, the 6-winged divine king. Impossible. Why would the 6-winged divine king descend to 10-square world? Why would he say such strange words to him? Lin Yu's mind buzzed. He remembered the 10 women back then. She told him that after leaving the Sky Bridge and the Sky Desert universe, he would know the answer. But when he left, he saw the 10 women coming to pick him up. However, the other party was discovered by a mysterious force and brought back. That 10 women told Lin Yu not to go to Heaven Domain. So, it was because of the 6-winged divine king. Lin Yu came to a realization, but he was even more confused about his past. The demon god of Realm C seemed to know him. The Dark Priest also seemed to know him. Even at this moment, the 6-winged divine king personally said that he was his younger brother. If that was the case, why did Lin Yu have an instinctive feeling of disgust for the other party? He trusted his intuition. Lin Yu retreated. Even if the 6-winged divine king, this kind of supreme existence, threw an olive branch to him, Lin Yu still retreated. The six-winged Divine King also put down his hand when Lin Yu retreated. It seemed that he didn't have much sincerity in the beginning. In other words, from the beginning, he was just trying it out. He had already anticipated Lin Yu's move. My younger brother, you still aren't willing to forgive me? The six-winged Divine King slowly opened his mouth, his eyes carrying a bit of domineering and killing intent. But if you dare to run, your companions will all die. This was a warning. Once Lin Yu retreated again, then the six-winged Divine King would attack Qin Yi and the others. You left for so long, hiding from me for so long, only to bring back this trash? The six-winged Divine King didn't even look at Qin Yi and the others. Even though they had defeated all the sequences of the primitive continent, they were now looking at Lin Yu. But in front of the six-winged Divine King, they still did not even have the qualifications to be taken seriously. Let's go somewhere else, Lin Yu said slowly. His body shifted and he appeared 1,000 miles away. The six-winged Divine King was still in front of him. He was even faster than Lin Yu. My little brother, you are still not ruthless enough. The six-winged Divine King smiled faintly. He knew that Lin Yu was unwilling to implicate his companions, so he chose to distance himself from the battlefield. At this moment, outside the altar city, he watched as Lin Yu disappeared. Qin Yi felt a sharp pain in her heart. This was the first time he had seen Lin Yu do something like this. She understood why Lin Yu did this. The opponent this time was very strong. They were so strong that Lin Yu was unable to control the situation. That was why he had changed the battlefield beforehand. You must come back safely. Qin Yi burst into tears. She clenched her jade-like hands tightly. She began to hate herself for being weak. Even though her cultivation had increased at a terrifying speed, she still couldn't help Lin Yu. The opponent Lin Yu was going to face was stronger than they had imagined. At this moment, not only Qin Yi but even Lin Xiu, Lin Yuan, and the others had tied up Nangong Tian after dealing with everyone in the primitive continent. But these people didn't have the slightest joy of victory. Captain, Baijiu's breathing quickened. He also saw the man who suddenly appeared. But Baijiu couldn't see through that person's cultivation either. It was as if the gap between him and the other party was several dimensions. He had no right to know the other party's cultivation. You still have the mood to think about others? Suddenly, the 4 sequences of the heaven region appeared. That kid seems to be in big trouble. Interesting, the sequence battle this time is so interesting. Qi Lu of the heaven region, Wang Jie, Duke Zhu, and Fallen appeared at the same time. Fallen looked into the distance. The wind and clouds there changed color. 2 incomparably tyrannical forces began to collide. The fluctuations of a battle came. Even the 4 of them, the strongest sequences, found it hard to imagine what was going on with the man who suddenly appeared. Is the other force Lin Yu? At this moment, Wang Jie already believed Fallen's words. Lin Yu could erupt with such powerful strength and start a battle with his opponent. In that case, his strength was indeed stronger than everyone present here. Brother, you used the God King token well, but it's a pity that your foundation is too weak. The 6-winged Divine King sneered as his gaze landed on Lin Yu's right arm. At this moment, Lin Yu's right arm had completely shattered into a bloody mist. Just now, he had used 100-fold 5 elements Dao Seal Palm. This palm strike was a 100-fold attack of his current triple fusion 10,000 spirits realm. Unfortunately, this palm strike could only barely block his opponent's casual strike. As for his arm, because it was unable to withstand such a powerful force, it directly turned into a bloody mist. Time reset and his arm returned to normal. Bai Xiaoli, who was in Lin Yu's mind, was also shocked. It seemed that Lin Yu still had many trump cards that she didn't know about. At least at this moment, this instantaneous recovery ability and the 100-fold palm strike just now had already reached the peak of the Spirit King realm. It was a pity that the opponent this time was too strong. What is the God King token? Lin Yu narrowed his eyes and healed his injuries. However, his spacetime value had also decreased by a lot. Ha! The six-winged Divine King suddenly laughed. Father, do you still think that what you did was right? Lin Yu didn't know what the other party was talking about. He only heard the six-winged Divine King continue. You gave him the most precious God King token in the Sky region, but now, he doesn't even know what the God King token is. If you were willing to give it to me from the beginning, Father, you could have lived for a few more years. It's a pity that you are blind. I'm clearly more outstanding than him. I'm clearly the best candidate for the God King, but you chose him. Shut up. Lin Yu subconsciously said this. His mind felt a sharp pain, as though a sealed memory was gradually awakening. What? You remember? So what if Father gave you the God King token? The six-winged Divine King took a step and appeared in front of Lin Yu. Lin Yu wanted to raise his hand to resist, but his speed was too different from his opponent's. Even though the other party had descended with his divine will was too strong. His attack was no different from a Spirit King realm expert. Lin Yu's raised hand was grabbed by the other party. With a forceful tug, it was broken by the six-winged Divine King. If it were you in the past, perhaps I would have needed to come with my true body. But the current you is too weak to withstand a single blow. The six-winged Divine King did not stop as he tapped Lin Yu's glabella with his finger. When we take back what belongs to me, we will use the God King token to unlock the nine-tailed celestial fox's true body. When that happens, we will truly be the 12th core god. Chapter 833. His voice was close to madness. It was as though after meeting Lin Yu, this person had deliberately suppressed his emotions. And now, this agitated emotion could no longer be suppressed. But in the next moment, a white light flashed between Lin Yu's eyebrows. Bai Xiaoli made her move. She gave Lin Yu a speed that exceeded his current realm. This speed allowed him to dodge the six-winged Divine King's attack. And at this moment, the latter's face was filled with astonishment. The nine-tailed Divine Fox's divine sense is in your body? 100 feet away, Lin Yu stabilized his body. As for the six-winged Divine King, he had already entered a state of madness. A strange smile appeared on his face. My little brother, why is your luck always so good? Divine King's order, nine-tailed Divine Fox. These things should belong to me. He attacked again. And at this moment, Bai Xiaoli's voice sounded in Lin Yu's mind. Give me control of your body. Trust me. At this moment, Lin Yu chose to trust the other party. Just as the six-winged Divine King attacked, Bai Xiaoli, who was in Lin Yu's body, completely took control of the body. And on Lin Yu's face, a strange smile appeared. Hee hee kid, it's my turn to play with you. This voice came from Lin Yu's mouth. However, it was neither human nor demon. And at the same time, the six-winged Divine King knew that the other party was no longer Lin Yu, but the ancient demon king sealed by the 10 great sacred grounds, the nine-tailed Divine Fox. The two of them punched out at the same time. This punch caused the sky to change color. The entire sky seemed to have been split into two. Everyone in the altar city felt a tremor. The 4 people from the heaven region wanted to take down Qin Yi and the rest first, but their attention was attracted by this tremor. Damn it, this battle is no longer at the level of the sequence battle. There's something wrong with this sequence battle. Lin Yu is problematic, and that person who suddenly appeared is also problematic. Even the top echelons of the Qin realm started to speak hoarsely. The first clash between the six-winged Divine King and the nine-tailed Celestial Fox had already affected both the upper and lower levels of the 10-directional world. The heavens trembled and the earth shattered, even in the outside world of 10-square world. At the same time, the heavenly god-ranking experts guarding the core region of the sequencing monarch city also sensed the energy fluctuations that were about to spill out of the 10-direction world. The divine priest of light, the divine priest of darkness, and the wind and lightning gods. The patriarchs of the 4 great clans. There were also Realm C's 7 great heavenly deity list expert. They were originally all closing their eyes, waiting for their family's echelon members to come out. But at this moment everyone suddenly opened their eyes. The power of the Spirit King realm. Impossible. Why would there be Spirit King realm fluctuations in the 10-square world? Even the divine priest of light and divine priest of darkness couldn't help but stand up at this moment. What happened inside? Venerable Wuya immediately shouted. Not only him, but also Venerable Zixia, who was related to Qin Yi and the female king of hell. The patriarchs of the 4 families looked at each other and then at the divine priest of light. The 10-direction world is the place opened by the divine king. May I ask, divine priest of light, do you know what happened inside? They were sure that the battle fluctuations in the 10-direction world didn't belong to the sequence battle. Even the energy that surged out just now. Even with their cultivation, they were still somewhat shocked. It seemed that not only were there Spirit King realm experts, but they were also peak Spirit King realm experts. And it wasn't just 1, but 2. Otherwise, why would there be such a huge battle fluctuation? But facing the questions from the 4 families and Venerable Realm C, the divine priest of light only narrowed his eyes and didn't say anything. He didn't know what happened, but the 10-direction world was opened by the divine king. If something happened, the 6-winged divine king would stop it immediately. But the 6-winged divine king didn't do anything. This also meant that the 6-winged divine king had tacitly agreed to what was happening inside. With the divine priest of light's intelligence, he naturally wouldn't do anything to stop the 6-winged divine king. Wait and see. Everything is under the divine king's control. The divine priest of light directly mentioned the 6-winged divine king. After that, he continued to meditate. There were only 20 hours left before the 10-direction world closed. In another 20 hours, the people inside would be automatically teleported out. If there were any problems, it wouldn't be too late to deal with it then. Seeing this, the 4 families didn't say anything, but they still looked worried. Tian, please don't let anything happen to you. The patriarch of the Nangong family shouted. The old patriarch was worried. Obviously, Nangong Tian was too important to the Nangong family. He represented the future of the Nangong family. When the Nangong family was declining, they needed a top genius to support the future of the Nangong family. And Nangong Tian was the best candidate. Patriarch, don't worry. Tian's strength is comparable to the echelons of the Qian domain. Moreover, he has our Nangong family's invincible superpower, Devour Starry Sky. Among the echelons, how many of them can resist the power of Devour Starry Sky? After Deputy Patriarch Nangong finished speaking, Patriarch Nangong thought of Devour Starry Sky and relaxed a little. You're right. Tian is invincible with Devour Starry Sky. I'm afraid we should be worried about the other echelons. Patriarch Nangong, what do you mean? Is the echelon of the Dongwang family weaker than your Nangong Tian? That's right. I, Beimoi, and the echelon of the Western Ming Kingdom are all top geniuses. The 4 families scolded one after another. As for Realm C's side, they were even more worried. However, the 2 honorables of the Emperor Fallen Sea region and the Xianming Sea region weren't that worried. It's the Middle and Lower Sea region that should be afraid. It's not our turn. That's right. We know Lei Dong and Shimen Wushue's abilities. Emperor Luo Sage smiled. Venerable Xian Ming also chuckled. Emperor Luo Sage is too kind. Your demon god Gui Xiao, demon god De Luo, and demon god Jiang Yen are probably much stronger than my disciple Lei Dong. Don't let my disciple suffer in the hands of the three of them. Our upper sea region is on the same side. How can he suffer? It's the other two groups. Emperor Luo Sage glanced at the 5 honorables of the Middle Sea region and Lower Sea region and remained silent. But the disdain in his eyes was already very obvious. They are just there to accompany him. Why do you care about them? Brother Di Luo is too much. Venerable Xian Ming sneered. He also looked down on the Middle Sea region and Lower Sea region. In the Middle Sea region, Venerable Nine Nether, who belonged to Lin Xiu, also snorted. Bai Wuchang is a disciple that I personally taught. Naturally, he won't lose to you. Chapter 834. White impermanence is indeed not bad, but there is also Lin Xiu who is dragging him down. I remember that he entered without being in the same camp as white impermanence. Venerable Xian Ming said. Hearing this, Venerable Nine Nether's old face twitched. This Lin Xiu is arrogant and conceited. If he drags white impermanence down, I will teach you a lesson. In another direction. Hearing all kinds of flattery from the middle and upper sea areas, Venerable Zixia and Venerable Wuya's faces also turned ugly. Crow, do you think your 2 sequences will be able to survive? Can you not call me Crow? After all, you and I have a... Shut up, who has a relationship with you? Venerable Zixia's charming face was angry, but she didn't realize that she had revealed a secret. I am asking you about the sequences. How would I know? My 2 sequences don't listen to me. Venerable Wuyao was also helpless. You are really as useless as before. Venerable Zixia took her anger out on Venerable Wuya. She didn't really care about the sequences of the Boundless Sea, but because she saw that her 2 sequences had allied with the sequences of the Boundless Sea. If something happened to Lin Yu and Lin Yuan, wouldn't it also affect Qin Yi and the Queen of Hell? Who are you calling useless? Do you want to go to my room now and try? Venerable Wuyao was also anxious. He was already a little worried about Lin Yu because of the movements in the 10-square world. In addition, the group of bastards in the upper and middle sea areas were mocking and ridiculing him. He was already very nervous, and now he was being scolded by Venerable Zixia. Try it, I want to see what ability you have. Venerable Zixia's mood at this moment was actually the same as Venerable Wuya's. After her angry voice fell, she waved her sleeves and left. It seemed that she was angry, but in fact it made Venerable Wuya's eyes shine. Was she hinting at him? The atmosphere was so solemn now, it was good to try. Venerable Wuya stepped on the air and chased after Venerable Zixia. Don't run if you have the ability. When everyone saw this, they shook their heads helplessly. Who will win this time? Who knows, this sequence battle feels very different from the previous ones, didn't you see? Even those experts on the Heavenly God list are fighting. That's right, I just saw Realm C's 2 supreme experts leave the place to have a one-on-one duel. I wonder who won and who lost. Inside the 10 Directions world, the fluctuations of the battle gradually stop. Kid, is that all you've got? Lin Yu's body was constantly damaged, but Bai Xiaoli did not feel any pain. Instead, with the help of the system, the damaged body was rapidly recovering. On the other hand, the 6-winged Divine King. Originally, it was just a strand of divine consciousness. Now that it was facing the 9-tailed celestial fox and Lin Yu at the same time, its battle prowess began to weaken. While his battle prowess was weakening, the restrictions in the 10-square world were also strengthening. Looks like you've concealed your aura. Otherwise, the restrictions left behind by the ancient Almighty in the 10 great holy lands would be enough to strangle your divine consciousness. Bai Xiaoli sneered. At this moment, Lin Yu's body had completely merged with the heavenly fox's shadow. He was now the nine-tailed celestial fox. Nine-tailed celestial fox, you've got some skills. The six-winged divine king smiled faintly and stood with his hands behind his back. I hope that when my real body descends, you'll have the same confidence. Noisy. If my real body can break free, I'll eat you. Bai Xiaoli snorted and wanted to attack, but the six-winged divine king did not plan to fight anymore. My little brother, you can hide for a while, but you can't hide forever. Big brother will wait for you in the heaven region, haha. The six-winged divine king's divine consciousness slowly dissipated, but his domineering and threatening laughter still echoed in the sky. At the same time the six-winged divine king left, the restrictions in the 10-square world had already swept over. Seeing this, Bai Xiaoli immediately removed her state and returned the control of her body to Lin Yu. Phew! Lin Yu slowly exhaled, his body was still injured. It looked like Bai Xiaoli was unable to control the system perfectly. Lin Yu operated the space-time value, and all the injuries in his body were healed. However, his mind was still unable to calm down. The restrictions in the 10-square world swept over his surroundings, but it did not seem to find any clues, and then disappeared again. As for Lin Yu, he clenched his fists tightly. If not for Bai Xiaoli's divine consciousness increasing his combat power, he would have died in the hands of the six-winged divine king. Kid, you still have a long way to go, don't be discouraged. Bai Xiaoli was worried that Lin Yu would be dispirited because of this battle, then such a good foundation would be wasted. Don't worry. Lin Yu's lips curled up. He had fought with the six-winged divine king. It did not matter if the other party was his brother or not. What he represented was the highest combat power in the 3 realms and 5 regions. Even if it was just a divine consciousness, he had fought with the strongest of the 3 realms and 5 regions. His thirst for power had reached a point where it could not be increased any further. What exactly is the divine king's order? In the past, I was worthy of the six-winged divine king's true body to fight. What was that like? Lin Yu muttered to himself, but there was no time to think too much. He rushed back in the direction of the altar city. And in Lin Yu's body, without him noticing at all, a golden rune appeared on one of his blood vessels. This rune surged with astonishing power as if it was about to awaken. Above the altar city, Lin Xiu, Lin Yuan, Bai Jiu, and Queen of Hell were defeated one after another. The only one who was still persevering was Qin Yi. This woman is a little interesting. Her injuries are more serious than the others, but she can still hold on for so long? Is it because you are soft-hearted after seeing a woman? Wang Jie sneered. Duke Zhu shook his head helplessly. I want to be soft-hearted. After all, such a beautiful woman is hard to find in our Tian region. It's a pity that she seems to be waiting for Lin Yu to return and is unwilling to give up. Duke Zhu slowly approached Qin Yi. If you are willing to be my woman, I can spare your life. Get lost. Qin Yi only said one word. Duke Zhu's face instantly became angry, and he slapped her. With a bang, Qin Yi's delicate body flew out and smashed into the wall. Flying stones rolled. Then go to hell. Duke Zhu smiled disdainfully, but Qin Yi still climbed out of the ruins of the wall with difficulty. Interesting. Duke Zhu moved and appeared above the ruins, stepping on a huge rock. The huge rock directly pressed on Qin Yi's body. Stop! Lin Xiu, Lin Yuan, and the others were furious. But Wang Jie's palm fell, and the energy directly suppressed the others to the point that they couldn't move. Okay, stop playing, the battle over there is already over. Seeing that Duke Zhu was still playing, Yun Luo couldn't help but remind him. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.